1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two.
Here they are.
All right, guys, we are live.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Glue Troopers, Max and Max's Models here. Ken's still eating, and this is my intro for the night. In Vino Veritas, baby. I got a brand new bottle of Angel's Envy in about 45 minutes to an hour from now. This is going to be one interesting live stream.
And you had something else you wanted to say?
Yes, before we get started, my next kit's going to be the Lost in Space Pod, and tonight we're talking about Godzilla! So, there, 2 minutes in.
Whoever had 30 seconds in wins the board.
Wins the lottery. Hello, and welcome aboard. Wow, we already got 72 people. 72 people who got nothing better to do on a Saturday night than listen to us three.
And
welcome to the club.
And one like that I put in.
Oh, yeah, don't forget to give us a like, guys. Oh, I should do that. Anyway, first off, before we get going, big news here in kit model world, and I'm gonna put the letter up on the screen here. And Steve's gonna really be the one to talk about this. Okay, where did it go? Oh, wait a minute.
Letter.
Okay, here we go. There it is. Guys, Stevens International, which is one of the biggest hobby distributors in America, put out a letter that they are ceasing operations in the third quarter next year. And Steve, I'm going to let... Stevens and Steve are not related.
Not related.
But Steve, go ahead and you have the ball.
This was kind of a shock to everybody involved in the industry. It was kind of a big bit of news. It sort of had a shockwave. Stevens International is an offshoot of a major hobby distributor that was located in Philadelphia called Felix Bass. And Felix, who is the grandfather of the current people who run, or I should say the father of the sons and the grandchildren who run Stevens, he retired many years ago. They took it over, renamed it Stevens International. They had a rather large hobby store called AAA Hobbies in Magnolia, New Jersey, on the White Horse Pike, which was there for over 40 years. So they've been in the industry as major factors for quite a while, going back to the 50s as a family.
Did you used to sell them stuff, Steve?
Yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, I did. I knew the grandfather. Yeah. And it was kind of a surprise to everybody, but it's a pretty big block in the wall of the hobby industry to go away. They will be in business through the first 2 quarters of next year. They will be liquidating their inventory, so I'm sure there'll be some pretty good deals out there if you hit their website. But it's just not a good thing to see happen in the industry.
So how do you think, who else is left now doing this? Because there aren't that many to begin with.
Well, you got Horizon, you got A-Main, you got HRP, you got Lightspeed Global, and then there's a bunch of, you got Mega Hobby, and you got a bunch of other smaller ones, but, it's getting pretty condensed.
Hobby Lobby?
No, they're not distributors.
They're a retailer.
I'm sorry. Misunderstood that.
But it's becoming a very condensed industry.
Well, I blame people like me and Eric at Celebrating Plastic Model Kits, and Paul and all these others who love vintage kits. We're not buying enough of the $200 new kits.
Well, there's a lot of parts to that equation.
Well, I was just being facetious, but...
Well, you don't have the enormous amount of young people that used to build kits, which are us now, doing it today. The kits used to sell in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of units for certain kits. Now, if it's 5, 10, 15,000, that's a lot. Gundam has taken a huge chunk out of the traditional hobby business, cars, planes, aircraft. And the price of the kits are, becoming very expensive now. because when you figure out what it cost you for the kit, the paint, you're looking at, for a 125th scale car, you're looking at $50, $60 by the time you're done with the kit and the paint and, anything you might need.
Tell me
And
about
that's
it.
without
I just went to Hurricane Hobbies today and dropped and this is with Ian being good to me. I dropped $90 on primer and paint today.
Yeah.
I only got like 8 or 9, 10 cans, so
It's not hard to do. I mean, can of paint is anywhere from $8 to $11, depending upon where you get it.
and,
So you buy 5 cans of paint, you're in for $50, $60. And it's a big expenditure.
Yeah.
40 years of military, police, and flying, and couldn't drive me to drink. By God, the cost of model sure can. So, guys, Stevens, the dumbest thing, well, not the dumbest thing, but one of the dumbest things I ever tried to do was get into kit model manufacturing business. I told you guys I wanted to make a line of 148 scale civilian aircraft, most of which aren't even made. And when I saw the cost of setting them, I thought setting a mold
You
up.
think there's a reason for that?
Yes. And I finally came to realize that it's just, like everything you just said. And it's heartbreaking, but it's the reality of the situation. And, but
the problem is a lot of the kit companies that are smaller kit companies that are around, the people who own them, they do it because they have a love for the business.
mm-hmm.
And they'll all tell you that it's not because they're making a fortune.
No.
They're making enough money to pay the bills. They sell the current kits. That gives them money to make the next kit. It's not like these guys are swimming in money.
Well, Scott McKillop, who we had here recently,
that's
and
what I was referring to.
Yeah, exactly. And we're in an industry that's a little weird in that it's the difference between a guy in his garage making resin kits and a major manufacturer is much narrower than it used to be. But that gets right back to the numbers you were talking about: 5,000, 10,000 pull or shots versus 3 million back when Revell was going gangbusters. I know that when I did the research for Lidella in Mexico, which used Revell molds, they didn't cut. I don't think they cut any of their own molds, but they said that they had, I think it was 10 machines, molding machines going at any one time. Yeah. And now, of course, the molds are getting a little worn, and Lidella is known for a little bit more flash and stuff, which you would expect because they were second run. But my 132nd scale Stuka is a Lidella, and I got it for like $10. But you get a vintage Revell, people want, $30, $40, $50, $60 for it. It's Lidella. Just because it was shot in Mexico, and they're like, $10, $15, whatever you can get for it. And I'm like, man, that's a way to get Revell kits on the cheap because of the exact same molds.
Yeah. Well, Eric from Celebrating Vintage Model Kits just asked me a question, and he said, do online purchases shift the effect of the distribution level? No, because most of the distributors are the ones that are putting them up on the online sites.
Speaking of Eric, what are the odds that I'm working on that Comet 154 scale Stoof, and he does the video on it today? And I just happened to be online when it dropped, so I got like in the first couple of comments, and I was like, I didn't know if he'd seen my videos, and that's what made him decide to do it, or it was totally coincidental. But I was like, oh, I'm building that, and I emailed him some pictures. But that kit, I had the only Comet kits I had built. Had been like the little Apache, little civilian airplanes, and most of them I bought when Aurora had them. I think I have one Comet kit, which is actually, no, it's an Aurora. I've got the box art for the Aurora Air Commander right here, but that's actually Aurora. But I got to tell you, Steve, and if you saw my video the night, I knocked the thing off the table. I dropped it twice, yes. Now the first time, I actually had this mug full of ice water going out to the shed, and unfortunately the lid wasn't secure. I hadn't secured the lid. I thought I had, but I hadn't. And I'm holding the model in a box in one hand, and I've got this in the other, and I start to set this down, and it pops off, and I caught the cup, but the lid, if you see the picture, the lid's on the floor. but it didn't knock the model over, but it hit it, knocked a couple of, like an engine nacelle and a prop off, snapped the shaft off the prop. And then about an hour later, I had the model up on the stand, and I'm working the stagecoach, and I just move a little bit. My elbow just tapped the wingtip, but up on that stand, it's kind of a teeter-totter. And it went, the whole model hits the floor. Both engines shoot off, but in one, all intact. But the model undamaged. And, of course, the plastic's about that freaking thick on the thing. But,
You went out of focus.
I thought that was just me drinking and driving the picture.
Yeah, well,
when I drink, Ken, I get out of focus.
It will be a little while. But back to Eric's point, Eric, the reason why they're selling them online is because there's less hobby stores to sell them to. So they need an outlet for the inventory. They go online.
Well, that killed several. I talked to the owner of Hobby World here in Jacksonville when he's shutting down. That's where I got the big glass case of that horizontal display case. I have a bunch of my models. This thing's ratty as crap, but it's glass and it's a great place. I actually took the doors off the back. Nobody cares. Anyway, but he said that he lost 60% of his business to the internet, and he just couldn't keep the doors open. And
that's because he's paying a franchise fee. And
no. He was Hobby World. He was his own thing.
Oh,
he wasn't a
but he's
franchisee.
still buying it. But he's still buying it from a distributor. So
yes.
He's got to tack on, the extra cost. That's the problem.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you want a hobby shop, if you want to run a retail shop, you pretty much have to be a distributor if you want to be competitive.
Yes. Because there's an extra, you're
it's a
paying
middleman.
a higher price.
Yeah, there's a middleman. Yeah. But the getting back to Comet models real quick, that one Eric showed, I found out, and I actually put a little text piece over the video, that you can order the decals from Atlantis. So
yes.
I might put some interim decals on there just to see if I can tape it. I'll just to see how, but I want to get those decals because that way it'll look nice when I'm done. Now, by the way, guys, real quick, I know some of you already know this. The reason that I wanted to do that model was, although I've never met him in person, Tom Daniel and I, the famous kit model car designer, Tom Daniel and I have become pen pals, and I've talked to him on the phone, and I probably ought to get my ass out to Hurricane and go in Utah and go visit him or something. He's about 86 now, I think. But TD is a character, and of course he's designed a lot of the coolest models ever made, but he was, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, he was a madman, a sonar guy, operator on an S2F, the Stoof, for S2F, Stoof. And he told me a bunch of hilarious stories, most of which I've relayed in some of the videos. But he also painted the squadron artwork in one of their main buildings up on the wall. When they found out he was an artist, they had him paint it and everything. And he sent me, he also made an artwork out of it that he sent me. And so I wanted to do the airplane, and I wanted to do a Stoof in his honor, which is going to be the gray over white, because that's what his squadron was marked up in. If you saw my last video, I actually show a picture when I talk about the propellers, the markings being on front and back in twin-engine aircraft. That's him standing with a little arrow over his head. Very young Tom Daniel in Navy Reserves. And he's like most of us, he's very proud of his military service. So as soon as I told him I was going to do a Stoof at some point, he's like, oh, you got to send me pictures, let me know. And so I've been kind of sending him updates on it. And but I think his squadron was SU, and the one in the box is SN. That's a squadron logo. But
hey, Steve, did you see celebrating?
That's what I'm answering right. I'm answering right now.
What did he say?
Okay. He said, "Max, you're not drunk."
Oh yeah, he needs the clear parts. Yeah, he mentioned that in the video today. Get to it, Steve. You know the boys in Atlantis. You got strings. Yank those things.
Yeah.
So anyway. I am impressed that Atlantis will send parts, or decal. I mean, not a lot of companies do that.
Every kit they make, they take a small percentage of them and they put them on a area that has shelving, and they use those for parts in case somebody, there's a part that's missing, which very infrequently but does happen, or somebody breaks it, they lose it, but they'll supply you with a part.
Yeah, I've told you my monogram story. I wrote them a letter. Broken-hearted 9-year-old Max was missing an entire runner tree out of his half track, and didn't have the 50 caliber machine gun or any of the cool stuff that I wanted. And I never heard. And I wrote them a letter and mailed it to Morton Grove, and I never heard back. And I loved monogram. Broke my heart.
So people asked, what is tonight's subject?
Tonight's subject is, and this was at Steve's request, it's going to be movie monster models, and I included robots in there. So since we're on that, let me start throwing some pictures up here. Let's see. We start off with, and I have a story to tell later. Let's see.
I didn't mean to interrupt your drinking. Sorry.
Ken, that's your job. Ken was, I think you guys should know that I just very recently chastised Ken for not being affirmative enough in breaking in when he sees a comment that needs a reply. So he has my permission to be as rude as necessary, because for those of you who don't know me, if you ain't rude, you won't get heard. Would you say that's a fair assessment, Ken? And let's see. We'll start off with robots. Kit models of Hollywood robots. And I
Drum roll.
didn't have a lot of time to throw these slides together, but I think I got a pretty eclectic collection here. Now, my humble opinion, which means it's a fact, probably the single most famous Hollywood robots are obviously Robbie, Lost in Space Robot, and Mechagodzilla. And, of course, R2-D2.
Thank you.
So, I also threw the Doomsday Machine from Star Trek, because that was a robot monster in its own way.
Did you leave out the water heater robots from the Republic serials?
I could not. Remember, we said we were going to talk about kit models of robots, I could not find Tobor. I could not find a bunch of the old Kluge ones.
Tobor, nobody makes a kit out of. There's a 3D file. But the water heater ones, somebody does make the kits of them. They sell them on Monsters in Motion.
You actually found a Doomsday Machine model.
Yes, found 3 of them, actually. But they're all made by, like, resin makers. I forget this company.
Yeah, that amazes me that somebody would make a model of that thing.
I think that's Anubis Models. And, what's really weird is somebody would go to the trouble of making a kit model of it when you can do it with paper mache. I think that's what the real one was made of.
What about Vincent?
I put Vincent on there because I know you're I'm sorry, I put Maximilian on there because we're talking about monsters. Vincent wasn't a monster.
Yeah, he's not a monster.
Actually, neither is C-3PO, but, I was running out of things to pick, and I was running out of time. Guys, I got a life, so such as it is.
You have a life?
Okay, not really, but, I like people to think I do.
Ken, don't tell Monica.
I missed the staff meeting again.
Yes, you did.
It did.
So
the other thing is, though, the thing that makes that interesting, this discussion, is there are a lot of robots that were in movies or TV that there are no kits of.
Like Tobar.
Yes,
Tobor.
like Tobor. Like the Colossus of New York.
What's the gorilla with the diving helmet? Robot Monster. I mean, there's like resin kits, but and I don't want to say I don't count resin, but this is essentially a styrene model channel. I'm really thinking along the lines of people who make plastic kit models for retail sale.
The robot from Target Earth.
Mm-hmm. And you being the authority on AIP style science fiction or American International, in other words, budget sci-fi B movies, if you will. You know more monsters than I do, and you could probably rattle off a bunch of. And the thing is that most of them are fairly simple. It wouldn't be that expensive to make molds for them. There's probably no rights required because the stuff's most likely in the public domain. That's just money on the table for somebody that wants to do it.
What about Huey, Dewey, and Louie? From
I
Silent Running.
I didn't even think about them from Silent Running, where actually Bruce Dern was the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, people go, he wasn't a bad guy. Like, he murdered his crew while he was trying to save the trees.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. But
No, you can't use the one from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Marvin. You can't use Marvin. He wasn't a monster robot. He was just very depressed.
well, we're not. I mean, speaking of monster robots, I have to tell you something. I saw Mechanic Kong in the theater as a kid. King Kong Escapes. And Mechanic Kong terrified me because I was like 8 years old. But I think that was one of the coolest. I just, as a kid, I just loved that movie. And I watch it now, and the special effects are so cheesy, but I don't care. Yeah, it's obviously the nostalgia factor. And I guarantee you, everybody right now watching this live stream has some cheesy old movie that they just love. In fact, you should put what it is in the comment section below.
Oh, thanks.
Well, what about the robots from like Westworld?
Those Yul Brynner was more terrifying in Westworld than in anything else he ever made.
Now, I mean, I know there's resin kits of them, but I mean, they're not styrene kits.
Yeah, that was. I remember seeing it at theater and walking out of there going, "My God, I'll never trust a robot." And tell me it isn't coming into fruition in reality.
Bill Campbell says, I think some of the Westworld robots were done in vinyl.
Yes, they were. He is correct. In fact, I think there are a lot of Godzillas I did not put up here, partly because I didn't have a lot of time to put the slide together. But there are a lot of the Godzilla and Kaiju stuff, and Star Trek characters are done in vinyl. My Mr. Spock is in vinyl. But the Kirk is in like some kind of hard plastic, almost a resin. It's odd. And they're both
Sligo says, we need a model of 3-Eye Atlas. If you get a good look at it, sure, go right ahead.
Oh, Paul, there is a kit of the Daleks from Airfix. It's an old kit, which I actually have it.
Really? I didn't
Yes.
know Airfix made a Dalek kit.
You want me to go get it and I'll show it to you?
Sure.
Hold
Let
on.
me know when you're back, and I'll put you back on. Right now, I'm just going to leave the slide up. So,
Super PZL says, you mean the interplanetary space probe?
I was, for some reason, the movie The Black Hole just never really. Not that it was anything really wrong with it. It somehow it just felt like they're just trying to cash in on Star Wars, and it was, to me, it was with a weird ending. And Maximilian and Vincent were just a little too. Vincent was deliberately a little too cutesy, and Maximilian was just a little too deliberately villainous. And I don't know, something about it it's like, guys, I think when you want to make a villain, it's okay if he looks like a villain, but I thought Maximilian was kind of maybe say a caricature. Battle Beyond the Stars, yes, Bill. Oh God, Dot Matrix. Yeah, that was. I remember seeing that. Ned, the Last of the Great Corsairs, and I remember seeing Robert Vaughn in that movie and going, "Boy, his career is not on an upward trajectory." Neither is John Boy Walton, Richard Thomas. And I was like, "Yeah, you got every out-of-work actor in Hollywood here." And of course, it's obviously a remake of The Magnificent Seven, which is a remake of Seven Samurai by Kurosawa.
Man was not a monster robot. He was a good guy. Eighth Man. Do you remember that robot from when we were kids? The cartoons?
Oh, God. And there's a thought that had not entered my neuron complex in decades.
Max needs an Ultraman model to go with one of his Godzilla models.
We're actually going to have an Ultraman slide in a future slide here coming up. So that, stay tuned, boys and girls. That is in our future.
The giant vacuum welding maid robot from Spaceballs. No, we're talking about real monster robots, not something made up.
Is Steve back yet?
No.
You know what? The heck with it. You and me can.
Eviscerated Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. No, Maximilian was a true villain. Anthony Perkins had it coming after what he did. The Janet Leigh in Psycho. Was it Janet Leigh? Yeah. How does it feel to be on the wrong end of the knife there, Anthony?
Mark's made some great robot toys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Google it on YouTube and see the ads on TV for them.
It's funny he mentions that. My wife and I were just having a discussion today in the car, and I'm trying to tell this on the show.
JM says, she's going from suck to blow.
Yeah. You said something that triggered something that Monica and I were talking about. What were you talking about just before that?
Ultraman? Oh, the ads on TV.
No, it's that.
JM Marks made some great robot toys back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was telling my wife, I was like, in the 70s, or 80s, I saw this like news report on how the automotive companies were building cars with robots. I was like, oh, this I got to see. And they show the floor, and it's these robotic arms welding stuff. And I went, those aren't robots. They can't walk. They can't talk. They can't take over the world. You know, I was like, I wanted to see Rock'em Sock'em robots building cars. Those aren't robots. Those are mechanical arms. You know? Like, oh, that's a robot. Ah, it's not a robot. No, you mean it's not an android? You know, and I'm like, no, it's not a robot. If you can't walk and talk, it's not a robot. And God, where did Steve go to find this thing?
His massive warehouse of toys that he's got back there.
Models, Ken, not
Models.
toys.
Oh, sorry. Well, he does have a bunch of other stuff back there, too.
Him and John Kitt have both a massive collection. John's got some of the coolest stuff. He's got those big cars. Oh, God. I look at some of the toys and models that used to be built, and I think, somebody had to get the molds for this. I mean, these things did not appear out of whole cloth. Anyway. Come on, Steve. I'm running out of whiskey here.
Sip it slower, Max.
I am, but I'm going to get wasted just waiting on him to show back up.
Secret PZL says, did you see the Soviet robot from a couple of days ago? It took a few steps and fell over.
Oh, I did. Yes, I did. Oh, was it Blue Origin finally got their thing to work?
It worked, yeah.
You notice how when it lands, it has those pistons it fires to staple it into the deck of the ship? I thought, and it actually comes to a hover and then moves over. Okay, look, it took them 10 years, and Elon's been delivering satellites for that whole time, but still, but
they got it to work.
He's got competition now. It's launched a couple of satellites and rocket wars.
No, my boat is not sinking. We were actually just out on it today.
Yeah, Ken went sailing. Well, while we're waiting on Steve to come back, the next thing we're going to about kit models of kaiju. I've got this kind of broken down into sections. And I'm so happy to see that there's finally a Godzilla -1 model coming out from Aoshima. Now, I don't know how big it is, but I do know that Aoshima usually makes extremely good kits. They're really more famous for motorcycles and things like that. But they're one of the big Japanese manufacturers that survived in the long haul, which is no small feat, because just like here, most of the Japanese manufacturers, Sanwa so many others have gone of eater bye-bye. So,
KLSC says, I see Max got a new supply of Romulan ale.
Hey, you go.
And Dennis Robart says, Max, where's the Crown Royal?
Dude, I haven't done Crown Royal in 30 years. Been a Maker's Mark man, and now Angel's Envy. And I got both today, but today I decided I would uncork the Angel's Envy.
Okay, scale model. You're throwing down. Okay, fine. Blue Origin landed on their second attempt. It took SpaceX 20 attempts.
But they did. Yeah.
First. Who did? And who's been doing it for a while now?
Well, I think those guys. You know what? Since they've asked that question, let's go ahead and tackle that real quick. I think what you have is a situation where the two companies use different versions of the iterative approach. Elon, being the guy who cannot sit still, do it until we get it right. Blue Origins takes a different path, which is a little closer to the Cook-Craggy plan, which is, keep testing until we think we got it right. And one guy, but the way Elon did it got him in the business first. and got sort of. It's kind of like beta versions of VHS. The Blue Origin rocket over time may turn out to be a superior platform, possibly. Okay, but beta was superior to VHS. Most people will tell you. Yet everything was VHS because they hit critical mass first. So it's a technology argument versus a marketing argument or a business model.
Okay.
That's how I see it. And since I am the knower of all things important, despite knowing nothing at all, there you go.
And Bill Campbell says SMA, yes, but they had many. But they had many to watch from X launch, and figured out what to get right. Okay.
Yeah, they learned from the competitor. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he told everybody what was going wrong, what he did wrong.
Yeah,
okay, we got to fix that.
They would be fools not to. And Elon knew they would. Everyone knew they would. And I don't blame them. That's exactly what they should have done.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. So what do you got there? A Dalek? Pull it further back.
See it?
Back. No, it's blanking out. Hold it in front of your chest. Hold it in front of your chest. Okay, now come up slowly. A little more. Back up just a little bit. Okay, we can sort of see it now. It's trying to cut off the edges where your shoulders are at, but...
Back up to Cleveland.
Yeah.
The mistake on the leg. But now we can see it. Now, I did not know that they did it, that they air fixed. Man, that does not look like an old kit.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
Wow, Ken, I thought I was drinking. You're just guzzling that stuff.
It's water.
Sure.
In case anybody's wondering.
You just stick to that story, buddy.
98.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So, they just made it for the 1 year, or what? Because I never even heard of it.
I don't know. I happened to be in this hobby store one day, and I had sold him some of my trains. And we had cut the deal, and I said to him, "And how about throwing that kid in?" He goes, "Yeah, here, take it."
Ken,
So that's how I got it.
did you hear that? He sold his trains.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I've done
Really,
that
Steve?
several-
Who does that?
I've done that several times.
You're not seriously into the hobby.
Oh boy. Them's fighting words, cowboy.
You know what, Ken?
Did you see?
They come, they go. You know.
Did you see Trey's comment? No amateurs in the mosh pit.
Yeah.
I love doing this. This is so much fun.
Well, okay, I'll come clean. When I retire and I move onto the boat, I gotta sell my train stuff because there's no room for it on the boat.
I love that you think Debbie's going
Just
to let you
running
move
around
on
the
to
top
boat.
of the deck.
I just love that he thinks his wife's going to let him move on to the boat. That's somebody made the comment about I should turn my house into another model storage and me and Monica could live as in the TARDIS.
Marvis. Yeah.
Monica saw that. She thought, oh, she laughed. And she replied, that's funny. No. And I was like, well, you know, and somebody made another comment. It's like, if Max ever tries to do that, he will be living in the TARDIS. Speaking of which, there was something I meant to put in the last video I forgot. And this is not a joke. This happened. Last night, Monica and I had to do a little grocery shopping, so we go to the Publix. And I am wearing my Mandalorian t-shirt that shows my navel if I put my elbows above my shoulders. And my sweatpants and my Crocs with white socks. I am Florida man. But she looked at me, we're getting out of the car, and I was like, huh?
You wear socks with Crocs?
You better, dude, I did a song to that effect.
Ken, how do you think they get out of the food store so quick? They drive everybody out, and then they just get their stuff and check out.
Ken.
Oh, God.
I could have been very happy today if I hadn't seen that.
I know, that's why I showed you. We're going to the grocery store, and she's moving away from me, walking away. I'm like, you don't want to be seen with me? She goes, we're going to play that game where we're going to go to the store 5 seconds apart, and you're going to act like you don't know me.
Yeah, I can understand that game.
You've played it a few times.
Yes, Paul, you're welcome.
It's
It
not
takes a
like
lot
the
to take it
time.
out of the stash.
It's not like the time we lost Kevin in the mall at Christmas.
That could go a few different ways.
You remember we were at the mall in Maryland in Christmas? Kevin was 8 years old. He just took off. We turned around. He
He just
wasn't there.
wandered off. Yeah.
He just wandered off.
Yeah, that was fun finding him. Yeah.
Ah.
It wasn't the first time he wandered off either.
But that place was crowded, though.
One time he wandered off at the beach, and we're looking everywhere at this kid. And I remember walking through the hallway of the hotel, which was right out front, and I heard these two guys talking. And I said, "Yeah, they're really trying real hard. They're not even upset, trying to." And we're like, "Why do you get upset? I mean, yeah, I'm not happy that I lost my son, but
You can make another one. You made him.
Just think of the insurance benefit.
panicking would not help." Anyway, a few minutes later, I see a crowd down at the beach, and I said, "I'll bet you anything he's inside of that crowd." I walk down there. Sure enough, he's standing there, and everybody's standing around him, all looking worried. And I come down, and I sit, and I squat down in front of him, and I said, "Hi, Kev." And he pauses for a second because he was thirsty and dehydrated. And he walked over and gave me a hug, and everyone went, "Oh, yeah, okay, you found him." And I was like, "Please stop."
Okay, back to models.
And then the DIFUS people came and said, "Oh, you're his father?"
Back in those days, you did. So, Steve, we were commenting on the fact that bottom center, Aoshima, has a Godzilla -1 kit.
Yes.
It was not until I put the slide together that I knew that. When is it getting here? Because I haven't seen it anywhere.
They haven't said. They just showed pictures of it. Now, I have already reached out to my connection in Japan and said, "I want one of these." And I'll look for it. As soon as I see it, I'll get you one. So, I don't know. Because just because they put it up doesn't mean it's available yet. It means the box art's done.
Well, I have high expectations because Aoshima is known for doing some pretty high quality kits.
I think that would come out about the time the second movie is going to come out.
Well, the second movie is going to be Godzilla -0.
Yeah, but I mean...
And I think he's going to be mutated and I'm guessing bigger. And there's rumor they might even introduce a second monster.
Yeah, they are going to...
I wonder with this series if they're going to do like the old Godzilla arc, start him off as the villain and then move him to the hero.
I don't believe Sluggo said this. He says, "Cannibals would flip coins to get at Max's calf." Oh.
Yeah, I saw that, but I tried to show it. And yeah, where cannibals are concerned, I am a self-propelled buffet.
You guys do say some really different things.
It's creativity, kid.
Congratulations, Bill. KLS&C 85. He made the newspaper on Veterans Day.
Ooh, Stuart Gregory says, "Is it me or is Max starting to get..."
Oh, I'm nowhere near Blotto. I could walk the straight line right now. And at my girth and experience, it takes quite a bit of the hooch to make me Blotto. Nowhere near it. But I am relaxed. So anyway, getting back to these slides. Okay, these are just a random sampling of the Kaiju monster kits. So Steve,
Yes.
where the monster kits are concerned, not excluding Godzilla -1 because it's not actually out yet. I know that the Aurora Godzilla, bottom right, is unquestionably the best seller with King Kong probably right behind it. But I see these other kits that have come out. I didn't realize they'd done a Biollante kit.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of new.
but
That's kind of recent.
that would,
Is King Kong a boy or a girl?
well, we assume
we
King Kong's a
assume
dude.
Because he picked up the girl, but in these days, you never know.
Well, okay, since you brought that up, Ken, technically, of course, mind you, we're talking about a 50-foot gorilla, so all bets are off. It's basically science fiction. But no, anatomically, the King Kong was not anatomically correct to a silverback gorilla.
Okay.
Had to go there. Now the one in middle right, in Spanish, that was the one when they did the movie was '79 or whatever it was, the Dino De Laurentiis film. They had him, hopping. That's just the poster. They did include like the slab-sided kits of the Twin Towers, but it was its own kit. The upper right one's supposed to be the really good one. That's the I think is it Polar Lights. They actually did a much more accurate one because the bottom one by Aurora was never really that accurate. What are you snickering at?
It's going by pretty fast now, but
He identifies as an attack helicopter.
what was it? Oh, somebody said that they would never. Oh, here it is. I will never wear gym pants and not wear socks to a store. I do have standards.
Hey, I wear socks with my Crocs. I'm not a barbarian.
And Trey said Sluggo birth control apparel.
In the Army, they issue black horn rim glasses, and we call them birth control glasses.
Kong identifies as an attack helicopter.
Yeah, that was Eric.
Bill Campbell, I have strict standards. Collared button-up shirts and long pants are my standard. No shorts or short sleeves or T-shirts. Whoa.
Good on you for having standards. You'll never live in Florida.
Hoppy, yes, they did. They did around the same time as the delicate. That's something else. Okay, socks. Okay, shorts, socks, and sandals. A fashion statement. And
Yeah, I have no fashion.
boots always until I can get them on anymore. Until I can't get them on anymore. Okay. All right.
So anyway, some of these Godzilla kits, like Polar Lights has that one, but I think it's a different scale than the one we know now. I don't know if they put out two of them or if it's the same kit. I have mine right here, and I've got another one that I'm going to be building in the not too distant future to go with the trawler. And
Rob Altus says socks and sandals are banned in most civilized societies.
Well, Florida was never called civilized. We also got Baragon and Gigan and Destroya. And, I've never seen these kits in person. A lot of them are made for the Japanese market. I don't think they make it over here. But
No, if you see pictures on like YouTube when guys go over and there's like the Godzilla stores and they go past where the model kits are that they have, you see all those kits over there, but you never see them here.
Were they at the Godzilla store in San Diego?
No.
You want to tell everybody real quick about your little visit down there?
Yeah, there's a company called Super 7, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, and they make all kinds of small figures, G.I. Joe size figures of all the different Godzillas, the Godzilla villains. I got like a really cool poster that they did for Comic-Con of Godzilla -1 with the train in his mouth. And they have two stores. They have one in San Francisco and they have one in San Diego. And it's stocked with all this stuff, but if you go online, you can buy all the stuff online if you never get to go to San Diego or San Francisco. It's called super7.com. And they're constantly coming out with new things. They have a variety of topics in figures that are really good. And never go to New York City wearing sandals and socks. You'll be laughed at on the street and mugged.
John, I don't own a pair of shorts. All I have are long pants, T-shirts. I don't mind. Laugh out loud. I used to wear golf shirts with front pockets all the time to work. Well, isn't that special? Crocs, put down the back strap, and they're now four-wheel drive? Okay. Socks, sandals, Bermuda shorts, Hawaiian shirt, strawberry hat, and aviator sunglasses. The Walmart uniform of the day.
No. Today, my wife and I were at Walmart. I'm sitting in the car waiting on her. I swear to God, this woman comes out and she is wearing these gigantic puppy dog slippers.
There you go.
And I was kind of like, it's Walmart. He says something, didn't raise an eyebrow. Okay, well, the next set of models that we're going to look at for monster models, Steve, these are all from X Plus. So you want to illuminate us on the story on X Plus and what's going on here?
X Plus they make kits that most other companies don't make, but they're all high detail. They're really good quality. They're expensive. And
Yeah, it's almost $100 for the Rhedosaurus kit.
Yeah, they make really, really good stuff. I mean, they did the robot Maria from Metropolis. They did the Rhedosaurus with the lighthouse. They've done a bunch of Godzilla and a bunch of Godzilla creatures. They make really, really good kits, X Plus. Now, they also make the same stuff that they make as kits, but in a smaller scale in like vinyl.
In vinyl?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things when I was putting the slide together that I thought was kind of, I hate to use the word important, but maybe culturally it is. You look at a lot of the characters they've got here, the Rhedosaur, which was the predecessor to Godzilla. I mean, they talk about how that was their impetus. There's Ultraman and Cyclops. I mean, these things, the Mummy, the Bride of Frankenstein, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, these things are cultural touchstones. I think it's not unimportant that these kits are made. I don't want to overstate it. I mean, but it's pop culture wise. Their Vampirella is more like what I think was from the comic book and everything. So,
yeah. Well, look at it this way: the Universal monsters, which Aurora made famous, they hit at the right time because that's when Universal had started running all of their movies on TV.
And it's syndicated.
And that's when all the kids who were growing up that weren't old enough to see them in the movies, they started seeing them on TV. And when Aurora came out with the models and they went to Hobby Show with them, people laughed at them. I mean, they looked at them and said they wasted their money developing this. And on, like, I think the third day of the show, someone brought their young kid in, and the kid went over and just couldn't put him down.
Oh, that's in Graham's book. He talks about that.
Yeah. And they said, well, then we're going to go out with them. Well, I mean, they had to make 2 and 3 molds of each kit and run them 24 hours a day. I mean, they sold zillions of those.
H&X, I didn't fly a straight line. The autopilot flew the straight line. First off, I think it's great that X Plus is doing these characters because, as Eric pointed out, he says no one under 30. I dare say no one under 50 knows who most of these characters are. But X Plus making them, is another way to kind of breathe life into classics. And now a lot of these are still being remade. I mean, they just, Guillermo del Toro just dropped a Frankenstein. And I heard that movie was only in the theaters for a month, but not because it wasn't doing well. Apparently, they only dropped it in the theaters for a month so it could get Academy Award consideration. But it was really intended to go straight to whatever, Netflix or whatever. I still have to see it, but I've heard great things about it.
Netflix paid $125 million to have it made.
That ain't nothing.
They only put it in the theaters for 3 weeks because you need to be in the theaters 3 weeks, a minimum of, to be considered for awards.
Right.
And
exactly.
Then it went straight to Netflix. They pulled it out of the
that may be the new model.
Could be.
We went and saw the latest Jurassic Park movie, which is a fun bubblegum movie. I've watched all the guys, that have ripped it apart or, whatever online. Same for the Fantastic Four. We just saw that here in the house. I'm like, look, I get why a lot of the YouTube critics are tearing these things apart, and I understand. But you understand, for the average person, it's just popcorn. We're not going to these things, for continuity from a previous movie or history lessons. So when you're dealing with the Fantastic Four or Frankenstein or whatever, the only real thing that matters is that you enjoy it. It's just like building a model. All that matters is that you enjoy it.
Well, Paul Adams just said There's no classic monster movies on TV here in New Zealand. So I missed out on a whole world of monsters. He said, except for the monsters, and I had no idea they were based on characters from the 1930s.
That really does change the perspective of how you see something like that. I mean, it really does. And that's, we tend to forget, I mean, not you and I, because, and Ken, because we're all men of a certain age, but anyone under 50 or maybe under 40, they never knew a world where these things weren't, universally aired globally. I remember watching the Olympics in late 60s, early 70s. I remember it was the Munich Olympics. And at the bottom of the screen, via satellite, I mean, the networks were so proud of that. People don't understand that was a big deal back then. And you were watching what was going on in Germany or California in real time. And today we take all this for granted. And I don't want, not blaming the young people. This is the world they knew. We grew up in the world we grew in. We were used to certain things. And
look, if you take the original movie The Fly, when he talks about his machine that's going to dematerialize and materialize an item someplace else, he says, my grandfather never believed that you could watch a baseball game in Montreal that was being played at Yankee Stadium.
Exactly.
And equated that to the same principle of what he was trying to do, that you disintegrated the electrons of the picture and transmitted and reintegrated it. But yeah, I mean, our world showed things that, people now take for granted, that when they happened, it was like, this is amazing.
Well, in the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, the Rhedosaur, the police officer that he eats,
yeah,
that officer, he's in like 4 different scenes.
Yep.
When you went back to see the movie in 1952 or whenever it was made, no one noticed that. Today you got people who are doing these frame by frame deconstruction. Like, guys, it was a movie made in the 50s that was going to be in the theaters for a few months and then forgotten to history until it aired on television 20 years later. Lighten up!
And it cost him nothing to make it. That's why he was in 6 scenes.
Exactly, because they were using the same extras. It just, I mean, some people take this just a little too bloody seriously.
Let me just make a little announcement to all you Canadian viewers. Go Dodgers.
What?
Oh.
What's that about? Do I want to know? I don't know.
Well, they played Montreal in the World Series and beat them in 7 games.
Well, good on Montreal for even making the World Series. That's no small accomplishment. But it's got to be one.
Bill, Rusty Staub used to own a restaurant on First Avenue in Manhattan up in the 70s. And before we were married, my wife and I used to eat there all the time, and he would be there because he would cook in the kitchen.
Gosh. You New Yorkers, just because you guys got to know all these famous people and eat all this great food and do all this cool stuff, you think you're special.
Hey,
It was what it was. Well, on to monsters and models. Now, okay, we're back on camera, guys, so quit picking your noses. Speaking of movies, I needed to get something from, I wanted to watch the very opening scene of When Worlds Collide with Hayden O'Rourke, later Dr. Bellows on I Dream of Jeannie. And YouTube, of course, has gotten so commercial, I couldn't find it anywhere. And turned out Rumble doesn't care. I might move all my stuff over to Rumble.
It's on, I think it's on Tubi.
Well, but I wanted to watch it on the computer. And, but I found the whole movie on Rumble. And I only wanted to watch the first 5 minutes. And by golly, if I didn't sit through the whole movie, it was just captivating.
It's a great movie.
It is. And I had watched somebody talk about it, and I was like, I need to go. And the next thing, now, I want to show you guys something, though, that's kind of interesting. Right here. You'll see it in about 20 seconds. But it was towards the end when the spaceship is heading to Zyra. And you will notice this little white dot in the exhaust chamber of the spaceship. This is obviously a screen grab that I did. You know, chroma key was not a perfect thing. That's one of the stars in the background that bled through. And I need to get the When the Day the Earth Stood Still model, because I think it was cool. But what amazed me about the movie is they were talking about this thing was made, 51, I think? And
Yes.
they were talking about some surprisingly advanced concepts. Why they were doing the ramp launch instead of launching straight up and this other stuff. And I was actually rather impressed, and sometimes we fail to appreciate this, maybe just because of kludgy special effects, how ahead of the times some of these things were.
Well, look at Destination Moon.
A lot of these concepts that they did in the movies were actually brought up by science fiction writers years and years before and just recycled.
Well, a lot of those early movies, they had some of the famous, for lack of a better word, astronomers, science fiction types consult on the movies and advise them on what it should look like and how they thought it should be done.
Oh yeah, apparently Roddenberry spent no small amount of time down at the JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
A lot of the early science fiction movies of the 50s were Chesley Bonestell backgrounds.
Yep, I think
Destination-
When Worlds Collide was inspired by Bonestell's paintings.
And Destination Moon.
Mm-hmm. And
You know, there was another movie planned called After Worlds Collide. There's a book.
there's a book.
And
Go ahead.
They didn't make the movie because George Pal made Conquest of Space after When Worlds Collide, and it didn't do that well at the box office.
He actually had a couple of failures, which they said they lost faith in him.
Yeah. And so they wouldn't back him again until The Time Machine.
Quick side note, which we talked about a few live streams ago. I didn't even catch it the first time I saw the movie, but when you look at the famous scene where they're showing Zyra, there's pyramids and there's artificial structures. Mm-hmm. So there had been a civilization there.
Yes.
Apparently the idea is that the civilization was long defunct, but it was going to be about their survival. Have you read the book or anything? The second book?
Yeah, the book is that they discover, that there was a civilization there, and that they try to figure out what went wrong, and then adapt to the new planet.
Not quite as exciting as the original one.
No.
But
no. Well, it's not going to get hit by a meteor, so.
Yeah. Then again, the only problem I had with When Worlds Collide was the antagonist, the businessman who funded the thing, was a little too stereotypical. He was a genuinely one-dimensional character.
Yeah, but he played that role in every movie he was ever in.
Yeah, well, face like that, I guess he didn't have much of a choice.
None
of the other actors, particularly, there weren't really that many big names. There weren't any big names in it, and I think Powell did that on purpose.
Barbara Rush was the biggest name.
Yeah, she was. Now, here's a piece of completely useless trivia that Steve probably already knows. Okay, Steve, the scene where the people in the general store listening to the radio,
Yeah.
that very scene, because Powell liked it so much, and it was a perfect scene, was used in War of the Worlds.
Yes.
What was on the table?
I don't know.
Stacks of Wonder Bread.
There you go.
I was watching it. Well, they got a lot of Wonder Bread on the table there, so I thought that'd make an interesting trivia question. So
Most people don't know what Wonder Bread is.
really, yeah. So they're used to Blue Bunny. Now, Steve? Was there anything else about the monsters? Anything you want to talk about, or the movie monsters, or
No, I mean, the thing is that
what's your favorite monster kit?
my favorite monster kit. It's probably Godzilla.
Which
the big
one?
one. The big one.
The Polar Lights?
Yeah.
I'm looking at mine right up here. That's exactly what I was going to say. They paid attention to detail. It's a little hard to get rid of the seams because he's so big, but he looks great.
I mean, I have the Rhedosaur kit, which I haven't built yet, but, you know, I'll get around to it.
I thought about getting it at Ian's, but I figured I got 400 kits in the Tarbis, and you know, I can't drop a $98 for a. But the.
Well, that's the problem. Is that you look at how many you have in the stash, and you see this kit, and you go, "Oh, I got to spend $100 for that," and you know, when am I ever going to get to it? And it's $100, and you know.
I keep hearing that song, "How much for that puppy in the window?"
Yeah.
Now, speaking of vintage model kits, and Eric, this one's for you because I saw this recently. I think it was on Eric's channel. Do you guys happen to remember the Adams helicopter, the Seneca helicopter, the CH-1, also known as a Skyhook? I have this, but I have the Lifelike Hobbies repop of it. And it was funny. Eric had just covered this on Celebrating Vintage Model Kits, and I've covered this a few times on the channel before. I'm sure everybody looking at this going, you know, that ain't right. There is no way that helicopter is going to fly with those two big heavy missiles hanging out the back end. My guess is they had a ton of the old Hawk missiles left over, and they just threw them in the box. I don't know what they were thinking. There is no way that thing would be in weight and balance with the center of gravity. But I think it's 1:40 scale. This is an excellent kit. It went together easily. It's thick, heavy plastic. The skids go into the side, so you got to be a little careful gluing those into place and let them harden well. But this was, and Eric goes into the history of the helicopter. It was made by another company, Seawell, I think, and Cessna bought it. But I had read a lengthy article about it, the Seneca helicopter, Skyhook helicopter, and apparently the Army actually liked it. But they had so many helicopters in inventory. They knew turbines were, you know, not that far down the road. It didn't have a lot of carrying capacity. Ironically, given the way Adams put this kit together. But guys, go out and watch Eric's video on this. It's really informative. It's great. That's Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. He did a magnificent video, a lot of detail, stuff I didn't even know. As much as I'd studied this, there were some things I didn't even know about. And I really enjoyed it. I'll probably go back and watch it again. But what I'm trying to figure out is why Adams decided to hang these missiles on it. It's the only kit I know that they made that was of an aircraft that never existed. This was never done with the helicopter. It couldn't be done. The thing could not fly like that. If anybody knows what they were up, my guess, and it's a total guess, was they were making the mold. They had the CH-1 done, and then maybe just decided, hey, we've got a truckload of these Hawk missiles left over we haven't sold. We got to do something with them. Let's throw them. Which I would have think they would have been better to sell it with a Hawk missile battery. But anyway, for whatever reason, I do not think this was something that was even a paper aircraft. I doubt this was ever talked about. That helicopter, there is no way it could do what you see in that picture. None.
I don't even think you could do it if you extended the skids and just put one on it underneath of it.
Maybe, but and the thing is, the irony is, obvious. I didn't bother to putty up the hole where the missile mounts, but the sad part is, I bought it because I wanted the helicopter, and that's what I built. Was a helicopter. It's on my shelf as we speak. Tail rotor broke off, so it's what?
But you know what? The box art sold it.
What he meant, he gets into detail, but in fact, one of the things I didn't realize was a lot of the detail he pointed out in the box art, the stuff that's going on in that picture. I was like, hey, I hadn't even thought about that before. It really is a busy box art with a lot going on. Go watch the video. He does a real good job with it. You'll have a good time. But yeah, Trey's absolutely right. The CG, there's no way that thing would. If you pulled collective on that thing, it would stand on its tail and crash. Period. End of discussion. But although I gotta admit, it's Johnny Quest cool. Yeah, one Hawk missile was 1,200 pounds. I think it was beyond the payload of that entire helicopter. I would love to find somebody who knows what made them decide to do this.
Probably like you said, they had a bunch of them left over. Okay, let's throw them in here.
You know, if that's the case, then throw 3 of them in there with the basic Hawk missile battery system and sell it as a 2-for-1. Maybe have it trying to sling load the thing or something. You know, I mean, at least that would have been plausible. But I remember seeing this. Go ahead.
It was the 50s. We could do anything.
We could do anything, by God. The laws of physics didn't scare us.
No.
It really is a good model, though. I mean, it's heavy gauge plastic. The entire upper section is one big clear piece that you got to mask off and paint. And I think it's 1:40 scale. But it's just a really solid kit. The only problem I had with it was the rotor sits really close to the top of the cockpit. And the way it goes in there, the rotor just kind of drops down on top of the cockpit. You need to put a little spacer or something in there, but that's a minor deal. But the figures look good. I did a build video on it years ago. I was back in the old Tarbis, I think. And I think Eric's right. The squadron markings on the nose, I think, are something they just made up. But it looks cool, though. I mean, you got to give them points for that. But
somebody suggested put little model rocket engines in one and just model and just set it off.
Model rocket engines in any plastic kit are fun. Trust me, I know. I've murdered many of them that way. I shoved the C-65 model rocket engine up the backside of a F-104 model, and that son of a gun went straight up for a while. Eventually, it spun out of control. I actually had it on videotape years ago, and I remember I was laughing my ass off and dancing around because it actually worked. Because most plastic models that I shove model rockets in, and oh yes, I did that often. I had that big old Aurora F-111, and I jammed one up in there, and I remember putting a couple of pieces of conduit in the ground at about a 40-degree angle, and it was sliding up there like the ship from when Worlds Collide, went streaking off the end, immediately did a complete 180 and came back at me. I was laughing so hard. My God, model rocket engine. Okay, now the alcohol's kicking in. Model rocket engines and plastic models are a hoot, and there are people who, you know, that's a thing. People converting plastic models to use rocket engines. But one thing they've got also that's pretty cool that was out at the RC Club, I only saw the video, I didn't see the guy do it live. He built this big Vulcan bomber, and what they do is they launch them with these really large, like F-sized rocket engines, and then they fly them back as RCs. They glide them back. It's insane, and I love it because insanity is fun.
Somebody did that. Actually, did somebody do that? With this, yeah, I saw somebody build a model of the space shuttle on top of the 737, and they actually flew it up, launched it, and brought it back in. That was fun.
Yeah.
Just like the guys at Top Gear tried.
And a D5 will make an M48 tank fly temporarily. We'll keep model one. JM, I flew my QF-4E, that's the drone version of the Phantom, on low-level test profiles against Japanese Hawk batteries on WSMR, whatever that is. Always buzz the range tower at the end of the profiles, and commanders enjoyed getting rocked. Man, who doesn't love having a Phantom come over your head 10 feet above you? Man, that's the next best thing to sex.
Ken, you didn't see that?
That would be the ultimate radio control model, wouldn't it?
They did. They got this company in England that makes propulsion systems, and they designed a knockoff of what makes the space shuttle go up, and they took a Robin Reliant car and put wings on it and a radio control unit and the whole 9 yards, and they went out into the middle of nowhere in England, and they launched it, and it went up, and they, for some reason, the car wouldn't separate from the launch vehicle, and then it just kind of augured in, but they actually got it to launch, and I was amazed that they actually got it to work.
The car was
But-
pumped on. Hell no, I'm not letting go.
Yeah.
Well,
But
Trey's
it
talking
wouldn't-
about the XB70 he just built. He sent me some pictures of it. Beautiful work, by the way, Trey. And they started showing rocket models that had a model rocket engine. Like, a model. Oh, what is it? The crowd. Insanity is very liberating. Yes, it is, my brother. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about because this popped up recently. Someone actually sent me a video on it. And I apologize, guys, for not saying who did it. I've got so many emails coming in I can't keep it straight because, well, I'm lazy. But a glue trooper sent me a thing that was done recently on Pactra paints. Now, mind you, Pactra, I think somebody's still using their name, but these old Hobbycraft Pactra paints haven't been made in years. The last time I sniffed one, yes, I sniffed Pactra paint, was over at Trey's house, and he had found a bottle. That stuff was like 40 years old and it was still good. And I think my brother used Pactra paints. They apparently have a fairly unique odor to them or smell, but I was... I've never heard people they can be kind of militant about them. Apparently, these things are really, really good enamels, and the people who used them, they're like, oh, they're the greatest. Well, there are still unopened 6-packs available. I think most guys just collect them. I don't think they actually use them. I've seen it between $20 and $70 for an unopened set. But they also made some colors I don't think anybody else makes. And I didn't know if any of you guys have used Pactra, but I've heard nothing but good things about them. So I thought maybe the Glue Troopers or Steve, if you've used them, you could add a little flourish to that.
JM,
they were good.
JM said the 70s and 80s Pactra paints rocked.
They were good paints. They really were. Wide variety of colors. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure, but I think that they did a bunch of colors that were like George Barris put in rattle cans. And they also did a bunch of Ed Roth colors in bottles.
Mm-hmm.
But they were really good paints. The other good paints that are not around anymore were Humbrol in the little tins.
Yeah, I've actually got some of that.
They were good. They were good paints also.
I have the Humbrol skin tone because one of the biggest problems I have with painting figures, even if I've primed them, is getting the skin tone to go on because it wants to either go on too thick or you know what I mean. It's hard not to blot out the entire face. I usually use a brush. Maybe I should be using an airbrush. I don't know. So, Glue Troopers, what's the story on painting characters in like 1/48 scale and 1/32 scale without blotting out all the features? And I'm sure some of you guys have got some great ideas. Patrick candles need to be made. Oh, that's class. Trey, that's a T-shirt. They did. Pactra does apparently have a unique aroma to it. And me and Fran and Trey he said, "Hey, look what happened! We're all sniffing it like it's glue." We're doing it for memories, not the acid trip. Anybody? Nobody? What? I'm waiting for somebody to tell me how to paint faces on characters without blotting out all the features.
No, they're just talking about different paints on the comments.
Yeah, he brings up that some of them are kind of gummy. Yeah, I have had that problem. But it's still better than some of the other stuff I've used. John Polly's was awesome. I'm not sure I'm familiar with John Polly. What's John Polly?
John Palmer S was awesome.
Yeah, Eric's pointing out all the mergers that took place. Good God, it's like trying to watch a flowchart of airlines and bank mergers.
Yeah, which is why Testers isn't around anymore.
John Ashley Smith says, for painting skin tones, use a thin acrylic paint and Citadel shades. They call those shades liquid talent for a reason.
I actually have some Citadels that I got. I'm very fortunate. On one side of my house, 2.5 miles away, is Hurricane Hobbies. Which, by the way, big announcement: Hurricane Hobbies is going to be start. I just talked to Ian today, and first off, everything's fine with him and Emily. They're doing great, and also he is going to start carrying God's Hands stuff. So I've broken 2 sets of God's Hand snippers, so I will be able to get another pair of them. I was going to buy another one, but I'll just wait till he stocks them. And
what do you do to them to break them?
well, Ken, you have to understand that the God's Hand snippers. In fact, do I have the broken one here? I think I already threw it away. They are so fine. They're like a pair of razor blades on clips that you can cut a piece off of the runner tree, and you don't even have to sand it. It's just that fine sometimes. But they do this by having razor thin snips on the end. And what I do is, it's one thing when you're moving apart from the gate, okay, from the runner tree. But sometimes you're like, oh, I need to cut this piece of sprue. You start cutting heavier parts. They're not made for that. Get your big old heavy clippers, which I have, and snap those. The God's Hands are for doing the fine work. They're very delicate. And I've destroyed 2 pair, and they're like $50 a pop. I think one was a God's Hand and one was a Tamiya. And the Tamiya was about $30. And they do comparable jobs. But you've got to remember, when you're using the thin Tamiyas or the God's Hands, do not start cutting, runner tree stuff with it. Just the gates. And if the gate is thick, cut it off with a regular step and use the God's Hands to go in and clean it up. And they break this way, sideways. It's not like, I mean, they'll literally get a little crack, and when you'll cut a piece of plastic and the blade will just go like that sideways. There's no fixing it. Chuck it in the trash. They're really great, but they're very delicate, and they're made for a specific job. Right tool for the right job. And
Travis says, Max, where are your nippers that broke Zuron?
huh?
Where
they
are your
weren't.
nippers that broke Zuron? Xuron.
I do
No,
not
they
understand
weren't.
this language.
No, they were not, is the answer.
Okay, elaborate.
That's a brand of clippers.
Mm.
Euro.
Okay.
The press says he's using the Bandai nippers.
Well, I don't think there are any bad ones out there. God's Hand's got a reputation, but I think what's happened is Tamiya and some of the other companies who run it racing the catch have caught up to them. And yeah, I've had real issues doing the eyes on smaller scale models. And I got to be honest, I go to the Nationals or JaxCon or Model Palooza. I didn't go to the last Model Palooza, but I go there and I look at these things, and they photograph very well and they look good. But when you look at them in person, you're like, okay, that's not perfect, which makes me feel better about myself. Yes, I'm that petty. Yeah, doing.
Dan Chadwick says, Floquil is deadlier than Braniff.
Better.
Yeah, Floquil. I heard good things about Floquil. And yeah, Floquil is deader than Braniff.
Yeah, people use Floco to paint model trains a lot too.
Yeah, Floquil is bought by testers also. What is with testers, man? Let's buy some out and crush them.
If you can't beat the competition, you buy them and just stop making them.
Who do they think they are? American Airlines? So the worst thing that I have found where the paints are concerned is that a lot of stuff's getting proprietary, and like with Tamiya acrylics, there's no problem using isopropyl alcohol, the 98%, instead of the Tamiya X20 thinner, X28 thinner. The isopropyl, I think, evaporates slightly quicker, but I've never really had any serious problems with it. But some of these things are getting where, they're making it where you got to buy our stuff to put in here with it. And I get it, it's a business, and but nobody makes every color either. And that's another thing is, you wind up mixing your own colors and stuff comes out looking weird. Yeah, testers did. He's right, Eric's right. They just bought all the competition. And now, let me tell you guys what's going on here in the near future. Some cool stuff's going on. I will be at a table at the Buena Park show in March in Buena Park, California.
And for $5.
For $5. Tommy, are you out there? Are you listening? First off, I expect all you Southern California model builders to come. For $5, give me $5, cashy money, and I will let you talk to me for 5 minutes without butting in.
Are you going to have headphones on?
And if I butt in or cut you off or something, I give you the $5 back. But then you have to leave.
Now that's a deal.
I expect Ken to fly out to California just to get 5 minutes of talk time in.
Yeah, everybody will be getting their money back.
And I know. That brings up the question, Steve. Am I more talkative or greedy?
I get talk time in when we have dinner. You're busy shoveling food in your face.
Oh no, the battery died on my Jupiter 2.
Oh, they're lost.
Which is
again.
the next thing I'm going to show you guys.
Lost in space.
Lost in space. I got this 40% off today at Hobby Lobby. It's
What is that?
wooden. It's what they call an unfinished wooden project. Now it's got a little hanger thing here, so I guess you're supposed to put a picture in it or something. But for me, it's going to be a base for the Jupiter 2. But you will see it has a lip here. That means I can put the batteries in here and put a surface up here and put the Jupiter 2 on it. Now, I broke the Jupiter 2 open today, removed some of the lights because, remember the problem we're having seating it?
JMC, I don't know how to pronounce that. Said I'd buy that for $1.
That's from RoboCop. Okay, so the battery's getting weak. This 9-volt battery's dying, but okay. Here's the Jupiter 2. The battery's getting kind of weak, and you can see all the stuff lit up. I removed the piece that went right here for the ceiling because I found out one of the reasons the upper shell wouldn't fit on it was the thing had not been seated completely. Some of these they had been painted, they had to be ground down. Frankly, you don't even need that piece, you can't see it. But the batteries are here and here. I don't have the battery hooked up to the fusion core engine or the top because that thing would be blinding. But anyway, so I removed that part. I filed some things down, but what I realized is that this thing is so big that it potato chips, and to get everything to seal up, I'm going to have to glue it down. How am I going to change the batteries? So here's the plan. I am going to put the battery mounts under here, okay? Put a planetary surface here. Okay, let's try not to break anything, Max.
I thought I had a fusion reactor.
It does. I took the battery out because... Ken, if I turn this thing on, it's going to blind the camera.
Tom Fox says, "Oh no, I see a gravity event coming."
God, please no. I got too much work in this. But anyway... So this...
Danger, Max, danger.
Danger, yeah. This I'll put a surface on. The wire will go underneath, and I'll have switches on the back or something so I can turn everything off and on. And that's how this will be displayed. And this will be glued down so I can seal it up all the way around. Because what happens is, even with magnets, you see how this thing bows? What? What?
Garfield says, "Danger, danger, Max Robinson. Crash, bang, tumble, crunch. Oh crap, oh crap."
Do tell. Well, since you brought that up, Ken, hang on.
I didn't bring that.
And then Audie Watkins says, "Max, a model, gravity, and alcohol. What could possibly go wrong?"
Go wrong. Go wrong.
Go wrong. Go wrong.
Okay. By the way, it's go werned. Okay.
This is just what I was thinking. Alcohol and Jupiter do not mix.
Tom
Yeah,
Fox says,
and
and then
slot
things
B.
got worse.
And that, Your Honor, was the last we saw of them.
Put styrofoam on top and do a lunar surface. Oh, that's cool.
Paul Brevard said, who's getting that when it drops to rebuild it?
Hey, Fran!
Oh, the pain, the pain.
Oh, the pain, the pain!
And two people did it at the same time.
Bill Campbell says, if Max drops to Jupiter 2, the show will quickly become X-rated.
You got that right.
So did you get all the electronics in it?
Oh, yeah, they're all in there. And Ken, I was just telling Ian this.
What?
There's like 60 solder joints in here. Every one of them works.
All right, you can be taught.
It's like
You
teaching a
have to
monkey
get
to play a
Ian.
violin, but it can be done.
You have to get Ian and Emily on the channel.
Yeah, we might do that at some point. Hey, where's that frick?
J.M. Chaldick says, did you ever notice how convenient it was that the Jupiter 2 always crashed into a perfect rush crater so they could
Rush.
always walk out the door without a ladder?
Yep.
Flush crater.
Bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, bum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum.
Calling Fran, rebuild on aisle 4.
I don't remember the lights flashing on the top of the Jupiter too. Did they do that in the show? I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
they did.
Twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
You guys have no idea how proud I am of this. There's like 60 freaking solder joints in here. 2 batteries,
Everything.
but the batteries will go underneath. The switches will be here. I just bought one of the switches. Why? Why?
In the heat of battle with gravity, Max wove a tapestry of obscenity that,
Ah!
as far as you know, is still hanging in space over the Tarbis.
I swear, as God is my witness, my wife and I were making that very joke earlier today. She's like, "What are they talking about?" And I told her about my father could. Some men work in clays and pastels. My father worked in profanity, could weave a tapestry.
And the crowd says, 60 working soldering joints? Who says there's no miracles?
Yeah, every single one of these LEDs is a separate, not only soldered with the resistor, but also on the circuit board, and they were all real close together. By the way, Ken, I have been watching videos on how to calculate the amperage and watts and all that stuff and what resistors you need for various. I have been really educating myself on LEDs.
Yeah.
We will be seeing lighting in the future on many, many models. I'm thinking about grabbing my Klingon D7 battle cruiser and Starship Enterprise that I built when we first moved when I was in Oak Lawn. Not Oak Lawn, my other house. 20 years ago? And all the stuff's died, and just ripping it all, go ahead and pulling it down, plucking the crap off, ripping it up, and re-LEDing it to get my Enterprise and battle cruiser to light up. So
Okay, there's a whole bunch of requests to do a live stream from Hurricane Hobbies to get Ian and Emily in.
we actually talked about that. We sort of tentatively plan to do that in the future, and of course I have permission from Ian to say this. They're actually in Ohm's law is just a suggestion. They're actually going through. Now this is a good thing, not a bad thing. This isn't what a lot of people think it is. They're going through pre-engagement counseling. So yeah.
They're that serious?
Oh yeah. Going on.
Whoa.
Looks like they're gonna tie the
pre-Cana
knot.
for all you Catholics out there.
And yeah, it's sort of like pre-Cana.
Wow, that got
But pre-Cana
serious.
is pre-marriage. They're doing pre. So
Hey, Max, maybe all that bad advice we gave him actually helped.
you never know. Because he didn't listen to us, he's going to do well. Well, thus the story from the beginning of this live stream back at the Comedy Zone. Do not listen. I swear.
The Borg don't know from no Ohm's law. Resistance is futile.
Max, just no Rugers. Oh, Ken, we have somebody who doesn't like Rugers.
How dare they? It's sacrilege.
Ken's a Ruger man. Manfred. Yes, Catholicism. I was born. I had a Jewish father and a Catholic mother. So if there's two things I know, one is guilt, and the other is taking stuff.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, and the other is taking stuff seriously, taking the whole church thing. My mom played the piano and the organ at the Catholic Church. She was the church lady for like 51 years. And so, trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I was an altar boy.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You failed to mention that little piece of information.
You didn't know I was an altar boy? I was an altar boy for years. In Florida, in my Sunday go-to-meeting best, with a cassock and the frilly lace thing on top, with incense, and I was like, and I'm just sitting there, 90 degrees with a weak air conditioner in a Catholic church in the Panhandle of Florida. And I'm like, oh God, take me now.
I remember before we got married. Now I'm like 28 and she's like 24.
You're talking about your mistress again?
No, that I wasn't. I didn't marry her. We're going to pre-Cana because we have to go for it. And then
hold that thought just a second. Hold it, guys. It is 8:33 p.m. I've run through all the slides that I had. I think we've covered all the model stuff. So I would say that the Max's Models YouTube live stream is pretty much over. At this point, we're in the after show, where we will talk about anything and everything. So no complaints that we're not talking about models. That's done. Steve, carry on.
So we have to go to pre-Cana, and it's at this couple's house that is active in the church. And I knew we were in trouble the first night that we walked in, and they had a pew in their living room.
Oh, I've done a pew in the living room before. There's nothing at
No, not that pew.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
The wooden one.
Oh. I don't know if they call them pews. They should call them owies, because every time I change position, on your knees, on your back, on your belly, on your feet up running.
So this guy who's the husband of this woman, and he's running it, and she's talking, and he starts out by opening up a gallon of wine and starts drinking, and he's commenting.
Yes, trade is absolutely free for all.
Yeah, and he's ranting about all the variety of stuff, and we're sitting there, and he gets all wound up, and he looks at me, and he goes, marriage is a give and take. You both have to participate and do things. He goes,
No, Steve, you got to say it right. You got to say it right. Marriage is equivalent to.
Hey,
that's a Princess Bride reference for anybody that didn't get it.
He goes, do you have any idea what it takes to do the laundry? And I said, yeah, 9 quarters. So the evening ends, and and that Sunday when my mother-in-law went to church, she got pulled over by the Monsignor and said, I don't think they're taking this totally seriously.
Keep talking, I'm just going to change the battery.
Tom Fox says, make a joyful noise. I don't know about joyful, but...
Last time I made a joyful noise, I was asked to leave the TGI Fridays.
Take care, Sluggo.
I had a military running. Well, there were shotguns.
No, there were shotguns there, yeah. Don't laugh. I had a customer of mine. We were real good friends with him. And started getting married, and I go in the back of the church, and he comes over to me, and he goes, come here. So I go over to him. Yeah, well, what's up? And he opens his coat, and he's got a .44 Magnum under the coat in a shoulder holster. And he
I like him already.
He says, if you get any ideas about changing your mind, he goes, I'll drop you with one shot. It's like, thanks. Thanks.
Oh yeah, yeah. We use 12 gauges, and I had to sit at the door.
Yep.
Try to run. I can shoot skeet with the best of them, which I actually can't, but he didn't know that.
When I was getting married, my brother and I he was the best man. We were standing in some room in the back of the church waiting for the wedding ceremony to start. And they left the back door open that went outside. And I'm standing looking at the back door, and the pastor comes walking in, and he says, well, technically, you're already married. We're just going to go do the show.
Nah.
I thought, well, let's go do it.
Yeah, that's how to trigger everybody's epilepsy.
There you go. Should put a warning. Bright lights may cause seizures.
I'm going to go, you know what, so I will just put this here and start all the epileptic seizures.
Oh, he's going to hypnotize us, Ken.
I'll be right back. You'll get into pyramid marketing.
It actually looks very good.
He did a good job on it. I'm
Certainly
really proud
did.
of him. I mean, he really took to this soldering thing and kept at it until he actually, did good things with it.
It's very nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And as far as the Ruger thing goes, I have two, yes, a 1022 and an RPR. Those who have one know what that is. 6.5 Creedmoor. Oh, I warned Max about that possibility back a few videos ago. Okay. Need trans-electronic music to go with it.
There you go.
Coolest military chaplain I ever met, Rabbi Apple. He was a Navy Marines Jewish chaplain, and he drove a Volkswagen thing.
There you go. Meanwhile, I think that the lighting kit for that Jupiter 2 cost more than the kit.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
That's a lot of LEDs.
Sure is.
Of course, I had to make the boards, too. I gotta learn how to light models, especially a police car. I need a model of the Doomsday Machine from Star Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah, you don't remember that? It was like a hollowed out cannoli with, and it sucked the ship in and it would destroy it.
Yeah, I remember that. And its skin was made of neutronium. That's what it was.
I hear and obey.
And that's just a reinvention of a Swedish wheel? Huh? Swedish wheel? Any idea what he's talking about?
No.
I said I hear and obey. What?
We're not talking about you.
Why not? I'm the center of attention. I'm important. I'm a kind of a big deal around here.
We can go on to other subjects that had nothing to do with you.
You left the room. That was it. You're done.
I'm done.
We're talking about models and electronics and how somebody managed to solder something together and got it to work.
That sounds like you're talking about me.
Solid neutronium. Yep. I don't know how the thing moved. Neutronium is. You know, a pound of that stuff weighs 1 billion pounds.
Ken, it's space.
Oh, Ken, Kuda kill us. Comparing a 6.5 Swedish Mauser versus a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh, Mauser hasn't got a chance.
Oh, say you. I say a 270 could take off both of them.
Well, 270.
You get a free bowl of soup with us. No, it was a salad.
Good night, Fran.
Oh, Fran, you taking off on us? Ah, man, you have a good night. Thanks for coming out to join us. I tell you what, guys, and Fran, I hope you're still with us for a minute. One of the greatest things about the accident of this whole channel is some of the wonderful people that I have gotten to deal with. Eric and Fran and Tommy and Trey and Mike and Steve and Ken, all you guys. This has just been
Ken,
so much fun.
We were last. Did you notice that?
Hey, you earned that, so be proud.
Oh,
JM says, but it looks good on you.
Yeah.
JM Chalek says, depends on who's aiming it at max.
I've only had this much.
Yeah. Okay.
My 48 Hungarian Mauser still dead. You know what? How many of you guys know that the famous M1 Garand, and yes, apparently it's Garand, not M1 Garand. I'm sorry. That's according to, Gun Jesus. Forgotten Weapons, Ian over at Forgotten Weapons. He's got the long hair and the little goatee or beard. Actually, it's Van Dyke, I guess. And everybody calls him Gun Jesus. Apparently, they learned a while back that John's name was Garand, not Garand. Anyway, the M1 Garand, I did not find him in a Cracker Jack box. I found him at Goodwill. Get your facts straight. Is that the rifle was originally a 25 caliber. Something along the lines of a 270, but even smaller. And he was furious when the Army insisted on making it 30-06 because the 25 caliber apparently was faster, higher muzzle velocity, more accurate, and less recoil. Sort of along the lines of a 220 Swift. But they said, yeah, but we have like 12 million rounds of 30-06 ammunition. Congress is not going to just let us throw that away. So it became a 30-06, which is still plenty accurate, plenty blah, 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 blah. But then 50 years later, the AR-15 comes along in basically 22 caliber. And look, I was as bad as anybody. And I was in the infantry. And I was as bad as anybody about scoffing the M16 because of its light caliber. But once I got educated on how the 5.56 millimeter works and learned, and this was after I was out of the Army, I might add. But when I started learning about how actual firefights take place, the ranges involved, I was a convert. And again, I know we've touched on this before, but I'll touch on it again. The 5.56 millimeter military round that was used in Vietnam was very different from the one that's used today. But it was a very 55 grain bullet, I think, but it had a very thin metal jacket on it. It tended to explode. It tended to fragment on impact, which meant that despite its small caliber, it did massive damage, body trauma, and it was a far more effective round than people gave it credit for. But all the military, these were all 30-06 and 308 guys. The idea of going this tiny little bullet just didn't sit right with them. But the Army had done a great deal of research and realized that most firefights take place at less than 90 yards. That you don't need the 1,000-meter shot anymore. Hell, that's what artillery's for. The guy's a freaking grid square away, just lob mortars at him. And but it was a holdover from the days of warfare in the trenches. And even in the First World War, nobody had a 30-06 or a British 303 or 7mm Mauser. In no man's land, they were shooting at 60 yards. You just didn't need all that power and all that kick and all that bullet. And
you and I went out to the range one time with and you brought your Garand with you.
Garand.
Well, according to some people, it's Garand.
Well,
rifle is Garand, and the designer is Garand. According to Ian.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess Ian's the expert here right now.
Okay.
But we took one. You brought it out, and you shot it first, and then you said, "Here, Ken, you shoot it." I'm looking at what this thing was doing to Max and going, I don't know if I want to shoot this thing.
Are you talking about a couple of years ago over at Saltwater Range?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't the Garand. That was the Eddystone. That was a P-17. That's a bolt-action gun. Garand semi-automatic.
No, it had the little clip that you pressed down in the top with the shells, and when it was done, it popped out.
Ken, that was 20-something years ago. That was over 20 years ago. That was 30 years ago.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that was about 30 years. Because I haven't had a Garand in over 30 years. And I love a Garand. I'd love a Garand. I'd love to have one in my collection, but Yeah, I had about 300 rounds of pre-clipped Dutch ammo that I got in surplus for dirt cheap. That stuff would be worth a mint today.
Anyway,
I think
so
we should make a. Oh, sorry, Ken.
I was going to say, so I saw Max shooting this thing, and I don't know if I want to shoot. It had a metal curved buttstock on it,
Mm-hmm.
no cushioning at all, and this
Because
thing,
they were men, Ken. They were men.
well, that was the conclusion we came to after I shot the thing and about knocked my shoulder off, put a big bruise in it. I thought, holy cow, how do these guys shoot this? And not just once or twice, but hundreds of times, when they were in battle. And that's when you said,
What did I say?
say something. These were men. I was like, yeah, they were. These guys were in great shape and had no problem shooting this thing.
They were tough sons of guns. Okay, Ken. Guys, if you want to see Ken shooting a 30-06 and have a good laugh, I just brought it up. Fun with Guns, episode 65. First time shooting a 30-06. Let me just open that up real quick. You've never shot a 30-06 before, have you? No. Okay. Okay. Let me just stick that link in the comment section, in the description. It's Ken shooting my World War I bolt action Eddystone P17. You go to YouTube.
With it was 308 or 30-06?
30-06.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucker kicks. That was not fun. No, I didn't end up horizontal, but it did knock my shoulder back a few
Hold on,
inches.
let me hold on.
P17.
Whoops.
You go to YouTube.
With it was 308 or 30-06?
30-06.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucker kicks. That was...
Okay, edit video. Guys, I'm about to put this in the description below, a link. Paste.
And he insisted I shoot this thing. He wouldn't
Hey,
let me off.
dadgum Skippy, Ken torturing you is one of my guilty pleasures. All right, guys, the link the link should be in the description below, and you can see Ken shooting a World War I vintage P17 Eddystone in 30-06. That's a bolt gun. So unlike the M1 Garand, where the bolt goes back and absorbs a little bit of the shock, this is a bolt gun. Every bit gets delivered to your shoulder. You watch that at your leisure. Now,
Now, 6.5 Creedmoor, on the other hand,
that's still a pretty stout round.
it's
soft shooting compared to a 30-06.
but not like a 30-06, and it will reach out and touch you at 1,200 yards accurately.
Yeah, the 30-06 is about a 1,000-yard round. But that gets back to why Garand wanted the 25 caliber. It would have been on par with that.
Yeah, and the 308 only goes accurately out to about 800 yards.
One question that gets asked often is how come the M1 Garand, they never put a detachable box magazine on it? Which, basically the M14 was an updated Garand with a box magazine. Well, they actually tried, but they used BAR magazines and the springs were too weak. It didn't work very well. What?
Bill People says, I'm watching it now.
Yeah. I haven't done any. I haven't done any fun with guns. Well, fun with guns was kind of shadow banned by YouTube. They don't want you to see what we learned. But most videos got like 65 views, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't worth the effort." But
Frank Field says, Max, get him a 50 BMG out of a Barrett.
God, a Barrett Light 50, no, thank you. That's an anti-tank. That's an anti-vehicle weapon.
I would like to shoot one of those just once, just to say I shot one.
Well, if you go when you go to the Max's Models channel, the little channel description, one of the things that's in the clip is that girl you and I saw at in Fort Lauderdale that was shooting the 450 Action Express, the 50 Action Express, the 50 AE in the Desert Eagle, and God bless her. You know, she only had the guy only put one round in there, so the slide locks back. But God bless her. That little girl got up there and lit that puppy off, and it, man, that is the most ridiculous pistol caliber.
Bill Campbell said, Ken made an interesting face when it first went off.
Yeah, I love watching him wince in pain. What I gotta say, I'm that petty.
Campbell says, Ken, it's a good thing you were kneeling and leaning on the edge at the time.
Well, he was sitting. He was sitting, and then we were shooting. But I didn't want to shoot it. I mean, first off, no one shoots very well standing offhanded. You need support to get off an accurate shot. And
shoot, we were taking your pistols that you brought with us,
mm-hmm.
and we were shooting targets at 100 yards.
Oh yeah, we were pinging the steel with a 22. I've right there in my safe. I've got that 4-inch 22 K-frame, the 10-shot, and that thing, and that's a 4-inch, and we were about 4 out of 10 were pinging the steel. I mean, you're arcing it like a rainbow, but you know, the funny thing is a lot of it's about energy. I remember shooting 100 yards with this cheap 45 automatic. It was a weird looking, kind of a cool looking gun. It was Turkish made or something, I forget. But it, I remember.
Did it come with taffy?
Huh? What?
Did it come with taffy?
Yeah. But I was arcing that thing up. God, I must have had about a 17-degree elevation. But every once in a while, bing, you know, and you figure you're lobbing a 45 slug. And I know guys that shoot at 100 yards with 45, or knew some guys that shot at 100 yards with 45. And those guys did it Camp Perry style offhanded, but they were part of the greatest generation. That's the way they learned to shoot. And God, I asked one of them, as John Cody asked him, but he goes, what you do is you make a little figure 8. Because your hand can't hold still. It can't. So you learn to make this little figure 8 with the front sight, and when it's the right spot, you touch it off. And son of a gun of him and old Pappy Coleman wouldn't sit there at 100 yards with their Camp Perry style one-handed and hit targets at 100 yards with pistols. 45, I think John used a Gold Cup. And I remember Pappy Coleman had a single-shot 30-30 breech-loading pistol. But you realize these men were of a different generation. I mean, marksmanship was basic marksmanship was expected of any adult male. You know.
Bill Campbell says, Ken, it looks like you handled it pretty good, despite the way it kicked back after each shot.
Yeah, he shot about 3 rounds. He's like, I'd like to go home now. I was like, yeah, a lot of doughboys said that. Well, Ken, let me put this in perspective. My buddy Donovan Henry, who passed away a few years ago, dear friend, miss him terribly. Donovan had been in the Ohio Army National Guard on the rifle team. They shot at 1,000 yards, open sight M1 Garens. Now they were match guns. 1,000 rounds a day.
Ow.
I'm like, Bill, how in God's green earth did your shoulder put up with that? And he kind of laughed and he's like, well, first off, these were match guns. We had the big, heavy, padded vest and everything. You know, we were set up for it. But I was like, yeah, but 1,000 yards open sight, you can't even see the daggum target. He goes, oh, they were like these huge, black, like 6-foot diameter targets. And these guys were shooting, I don't care if it's a 6-foot diameter target. They were shooting at 1,000 yards, not meters, yards, because this is America. And 1,000 rounds a day, I'm like, Bill, that's 10 clips is 80 rounds. Means 100 clips is 800. You were shooting over 100 clips a day. He goes, oh, the guard was paying for it. You know, they were cases the stuff out. We just kept banging away, and I'm kind of like, man, M14 didn't suck. The M14 was misunderstood. There's a lot to it. If you want to get on the M14 thing, I got an M1A right there. I can tell you all the whole M14 story. I imagine most of you probably already know it. The M14 was a great gun for certain things, not for Vietnam. But anyway, I digress. But, okay, let me tell you a Donovan story. His name was William Donovan Henry. His wife called him Bill, so I started calling him Bill. But everyone else called him Donovan. So if I say Bill or Wild Bill or Donovan, it's the same guy. Okay. He grew up in Ohio in the 40s and 50s, and he did not have an idyllic childhood. At 13, he was put to work on a farm. Now, a lot of us have this well-crafted image of the Midwestern farmer as this virtuous man, very American Gothic, very stoic. Wife at home, church on Sundays. To which I say, a bullshit. Okay, pardon my français. He talked about what farmers were like in the great Midwest. They were skirt chasing, whiskey drinking, cigar smoking men of a different era. They were raised in the 20s, the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. And he completely obliterated my Ozzie and Harriet image of 1950s America. And I'll never forgive him, nor will I ever regret the fact that he brought me up to speed on the real history. When he was 13, he had what was called I believe it was called a farm license. Apparently, you could drive tractors and stuff on the highway at like 13. And this farmer and a lot of his buddies, they would go out and they did work hard. And they made good money. But come the weekend, they'd go into town and they would gamble and whore and get crap-faced and everything else. And his job was, when they were all laid and played, was to dump them in the 53 Chevrolet. And he, at 13 years old, looking under the wheel, was driving them all home on a farm license. And I'm like, you and I had very different childhoods. I was raised in cul-de-sac heaven, middle America in the 60s and 70s. And
sounds like the Last Picture Show.
Yes! That's an excellent analogy. Thank you, Steve.
They realized the benefits of the brothels.
Oh, yeah. And the stories he would tell me, and I'm like, I could not envision of being 13, 14 years old and having... And Donovan was a man's man in every way you can be. My father, who I love as much as anybody that ever set foot upon this planet, was a patient but firm father. And my parents, I could not have asked for more out of my parents. They had strong moral cores. They also had 7 kids, so they had no illusions. And they worked hard. They played hard. My parents were very conservative by the book. Wild Bill, they didn't call him Wild for nothing. He grew up in a very different environment. And I love that guy like a second father. He helped bring me into the light of what a lot of people go up through in their childhood. And I realized not everybody has the idyllic childhood I had. And it helped me to understand, to be more patient with people who hold different virtues or values than I did, because I came to realize that not everybody was raised the way I was, and people are largely a product of their environment, and not to be so damn judgy at times. And I have lightened up on a lot of things as I've gone through life. I wish that you could take the mind, the brain and the experience of a 70-year-old or a 60-year-old and just inject it into a 12-year-old, so as they grow up, they learn to be more, I mean, Steve, you saw a lot of crap growing up in New York.
Yep. Different world.
And in a lot of ways, you grew up in the best and worst of things. I mean, you grew up with,
I wouldn't have picked another place to grow up. You had everything there that you ever could imagine you'd need. You had museums, you had the theater, you had parks, you had neighborhoods. Wasn't idyllic, but, it was what you knew.
Yes. What was that famous hobby shop that was 4 stories high?
Polk's.
You had Polk's. I had
Yes,
Christos and McCrory's.
had Polks, we had America's Hobby, and then model kits were sold pretty much everywhere back then.
But also, huh? Go ahead.
We used to go to this little stationery store that had models.
Yeah, I remember him seeing them in convenience stores.
And then camera stores had them. And so you'd get save up your allowance for a couple of weeks so you could go buy that kit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you'd go from one store to the next store to the next store to the next store to see what they had before you decided what you were going to throw your money down on.
Mm-hmm. I had 4 weeks, 30 cents a week, 4 weeks, $1.20. Go down, get the model, get the glue. One model a month, like clockwork. Max, it'll never fly. 12 years. Huh.
12 years old. They're still young.
I know everything, yeah. Was it
Paul
youth?
says it, Madison Hardware for trades. Yep.
Yeah. Candy store. Oh, yeah, God.
I do not want to be the wet blanket here, but it is after 9 o'clock.
Who cares? If you got to go, Ken, you're free to leave at any time.
Nope.
You've had dinner.
I'm not leaving till that bottle is empty.
See me in 3 weeks. But one of the things I love about Angel Envy, I've been sipping this all night, and I'm not like, and I won't have a hangover tomorrow. This stuff's worth every bit of the $46 you pay for it. But okay, Ken, you, unlike me and Steve, who were grounded. Steve was in New York. I was in the Panhandle of Florida. You couldn't have two more different places, but you bounced around a lot.
Oh yeah, my dad was Air Force.
Yeah, so you were a military brat. You were all over the place. What were your best and least favorite places?
There was no favorite place.
Really? They were all bad, huh? It's not like they sent you to Diego Garcia.
Well, my brother and I were always the outsiders wherever we went. And with my superior social skills, I tended to have trouble.
Yeah, Ricky kept you from getting moited.
Yeah. So
he's the best friend you ever made until you met me.
So my brother and I, we just kept to ourselves and just kept each other entertained.
Ken, you were the audio-visual guy. That was going to happen anyway.
I mean, I lived in eight different states by the time I was in 6th grade.
What?
I had lived in 8 different states by the time I was in 6th grade.
Yeah, but at least those are all CONUS, Continental U.S. assignments, different states, where everybody spoke English with some kind of weird accent.
Yeah.
You never went overseas with your dad, did you?
What's that?
You never went overseas with him, did you?
No. We always stayed in the States.
Okay.
We didn't go overseas. His very first assignment that he got when he first went in the Air Force was Johnston Island.
Jesus. Talk about
look
at a map of nowhere, and Johnson's Atoll is right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and you can't take your family with you.
No, that's a hardship assignment. That, Korea, Diego Garcia, they're all hardships. But Christ, I've seen the pictures with the old B-45 tornado parked out there. I mean, there was nothing. It was a rock sticking out of the ocean.
He did say there was a woman behind every tree.
Yeah, if only there'd been a tree.
There were no trees.
Yeah, the state tree of Johnson's Island's a phone pole.
And he was there for a year. He was stationed there a year.
It's funny you should mention that, Ken. In the Army, Korea, which is a hardship assignment, you can't bring your family, the assignments are 1 year. I was shocked to learn when I was in the military at the Air Force, it was 2 years. And I was like, damn, a 2-year hardship assignment? No wonder they have so many divorces. But then again, somebody pointed out, yeah, but it's the Air Force. It's when you're in the Army, you're out there with a rifle on patrol in DMZ. And you learn real quick the North Korean intelligence is pretty spot on. Those guys have got spies everywhere. When I was in boot camp, we'd finished boot camp. I was waiting to get my orders. And one of the drill sergeants, Sergeant Arnie, big guy, E6 type staff sergeant. And Sergeant Arnie was talking about, because now that boot camp, or this is actually AIT, now that AIT was over and we were infantrymen waiting for assignment, they started treating us like real human beings. Sergeant Arnie tells me, he goes, yeah, Korea kind of worried me because you have all these, these people that clean the rooms and the offices and all these, people that do the, manual labor around there, so you don't have to. But you never know who's North Korean and who's not, who's the actual. And he goes, we're out on patrol in the DMZ. And we're talking about hot weapons. We're not talking about stateside patrolling with blanks or empty guns with 3 rounds in your pouch. We're talking about locked and loaded, one in the chamber, safety on, dust cover closed. And they're moving along, and the radio, they go, Sergeant Ani, are you enjoying your patrol tonight? It's like, damn, those guys are good, props. One of our squad leaders, Sergeant May, had a MSM, a Meritorious Service Medal, which is, in peacetime back then, was a big deal. He was on patrol at the DMZ, and he just disappeared. His crew was with him. They're at night doing a foot patrol, and all of a sudden, Sergeant May just disappeared. Where's Sergeant May go? Down here. What? Down here. They start peeking around with their flashlights. He had stepped on a thin piece of dirt. The North Koreans had dug a tunnel, which they do all the time, and apparently dug too close to the surface, and he went to the top of it. You find a tunnel, you get a Meritorious Service Medal. Unbelievable.
I almost had one of the blue troopers commented about Okinawa. I was going to go there. The whole family was going to go. Dad got an assignment there, and we went to Andrews Air Force Base and got all of our shots that we needed to get. And then when it was time to go, my mom said, nope, ain't going to Okinawa.
Yeah. I don't know, Eric. Arnie was a pretty straight-up guy. But I had heard these stories from other guys also. And it's a real game of cat and mouse in the DMZ. Still is. I mean, I remember, a lot of you guys may remember the famous axe murders up on the DMZ. When the guys went to chop the cherry tree down and they got attacked by the North Koreans. Man. Okay. See if this name rings a bell to anyone. Chief Warrant Officer Schwanke. And I'll give a minute to see if anybody responds. I only know this because it reminded me of my own name, Conky. And somebody out there, Trey may know because it was a helicopter thing, but oh, wait a minute. Let's see. It's funny, Trey. I don't know if this is true or not, but what I've heard is that the Army insisted on a forward assist for the M16, which is a little spade-shaped handle on the right side of the receiver, so that if the bolt doesn't seat all the way, you can hit it, and it locks the bolt. Because an M16 has a rotating, unlocking bolt. Now, I had heard the M16 jammed a lot, and when I went in the Army, I went in with a lot of prejudice. And when we fired blanks, we had a lot of jams. So firing live ammo, we didn't. There is an enormous story behind that. There's 100 histories on YouTube about it. I did have to use the forward assist with blanks, but I never had to use it with live ammo. And we shot a fair amount in the infantry. But most automatic weapons, up until the 1960s, fired from an open bolt. The German MP40, in fact, all the submachine guns, the Browning automatic rifle, all fired from an open bolt, which meant the bolt was open and the chamber was exposed until you pulled the trigger. The M1 Garand and the M1 Carbine fired from a closed bolt. They put a round in the chamber, locked the bolt behind it, which kept the crap out until you pulled the trigger. I think the MP5 was one of the early submachine guns to Heckler HK MP5 that fire from closed bolt. And the M16 fired from closed bolt. But they put a dust cover over it so you would cover the ejection port so crap wouldn't get over the bolt carrier group. The problems with the M16 when it first came out was that, well, actually there were a lot of them. The gun really hadn't been fully developed. And they were also, I get the ball and stick powder confused, but the Army was using a powder that was different than what it was designed for. There was a whole bunch of crap, though. Watch one of the YouTube videos. There's about a dozen YouTube videos on the problem with the M16. The early M16s, troops had trained on the M14. They go to Vietnam. They had an M16. They'd never seen it before. They didn't give them cleaning kits. They had the wrong kind of powder in the rounds. There was a whole debacle behind that thing. Very much on par with the American torpedo debacle of World War II. A lot of people don't realize we had the crappiest torpedoes in the world until
Tangent
about...
alert.
Huh?
Tangent alert.
What tangents? This is just... We're the after show. Tangents are what we live for. But
Okay.
it wasn't until late 43, early 44 that we got the bugs worked out of our torpedoes. And then the sinkings went way up. Ken, there was a submarine commander in World War II that was so ticked off about the unreliability of his torpedoes, he shot his entire complement of torpedoes at an underwater cliff, and not one of them detonated.
Wow.
There's a book called Tin Fish and Iron Men about the debacle. You can go on, there are a dozen YouTube videos about it. There's a Wikipedia page about the American torpedo debacle. It's a very long and involved story, and it took over 3 years to work all the bugs out of the Mark 13 torpedo. Once we got it debugged, and especially combined it with the radar we put on submarines, our submarines were killers elite, and we destroyed the Japanese maritime fleet. And being an island nation with no natural resources, they lived on what they could steal from and transport to Japan. And it's a long and involved story, but the M16 had a similar kind of, and you can thank Colonel, later Brigadier General Rene Studard, depending on who you want to believe, for the guy who screwed up the M16 for M14. It is a long and involved story. Politics, I mean, God, it wouldn't make if people could deal with the boredom, it wouldn't make a half bad mini-series. But anyway, I still use my TWA coasters, even though this one is completely soaking wet. Good night, Eric. Take care of yourself, brother. Appreciate you coming out. Yeah, everybody's signing off now that Max is on a rant.
North Korean subs work. They died well. Coming back up on the other hand.
Well, somebody just put up there, if we ever got the Pueblo back from North Korea, they wouldn't have a good ship in the entire Navy.
As we saw by their recent launching of a destroyer that went straight and flipped over. I love it. All right, guys.
I wonder how many tools they had to buy from Harbor Freight to get all those blue tarps to cover it after.
Well, don't they make the tools for Harbor Freight?
Probably do.
Probably. I'm here for the long haul. I'm still here.
For those of you who are still here, thank you. I'm happy to know that I'm not the only one that doesn't have anything better to do on a Saturday night.
Still 78 of them out there.
God bless them each and every one. By the way, Ken and Steve, you guys can sign off anytime you want to go away. I'm just blathering at this point.
Oh, no, I wouldn't miss this for anything.
This is the good part.
So, I used to gripe about the M16, but it took a while, but it evolved to an excellent platform that's still in use today. It actually has the longest service life of anything in the military inventory except the M14, but the M14 is only used in the sniping role today. The M14 has the reputation of having the shortest and longest service record. The shortest is a main battle rifle, like 10 years. But since we held on to some to make the M21 sniping, I think it's M21 sniping rifles out of, it predates the M16, so technically it has the longest service life. I did a video about that on Fun with Guns. I love the M14. I think it's a great rifle. What I was shocked by when I educated myself, when the Army, you have to remember, we made like 3 million M1 Garens during, the war. And they were all excellent rifles. But what happened was they had the arsenal system back then, and a lot of these guys retired.
KLS&C says, We are all waiting for the Jupiter.
I am not going to let that happen. I will hold it close to my bosom as I turn the switches off, and then I will carefully wheel it into its place. I have got about 80 or 100 man hours in that thing. I am not about to let that fall off the desktop.
Maybe you should drill a hole in the side and put a switch so you don't have to lift the panel up, the platform up.
I do. It's in the landing. It's in the aft landing gear bay. The switches are both back here in the left aft. But when I put them in, I didn't realize that the damn strut's in the way, which makes it hard to get to them.
Which is why I was saying put them in the side of the platform. Max, you're about to have a gravity event.
Nope. I'm holding it down. I'm looking
Okay,
for
so
the
you'll
other button.
squash it.
The force is strong with this one.
There. No gravity events. In fact, I shall remove the beautiful coffee cup I got from Mike Machat. Put that back here. And I
Place
shall
it
put this
higher
back up on
up
its
so that when
perch.
it, oh,
So that when it hits, it will break into more pieces.
that's right.
There. All done. No gravity event. And yes, I did get these pajama pants at Salvation Army.
Yeah, we were all admiring them.
Only a confident man wears PJs like this with his Crocs and socks.
Or drunk.
But now it's safely back up on its shelf. I can knock anything over, but not that.
The crowd says, can't fall off the floor.
AK is yeah, the AK is a definitely reliable firearm. That's the one thing. The one thing the AK has going for it is that you pull the trigger, it goes boom. You know, I have a DPMS, which is a late model knockoff AR, and it's pretty reliable. I've never had a jam with it, but the 16 went through a very, very painful development process.
JM Chaladeck says, Florida fashion.
Yeah, you know it, baby. Florida man, he's a thing.
And since we're on the topic of firearms, I'm sure everybody will be anxiously awaiting the upcoming release of the Kentucky long rifle from Atlantis.
I like real guns, not toys and models. Why are they doing that? Don't get me wrong. What scale is it? It's not a 1-to-1, is it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I could see getting one, painting it up, and putting it up on the wall. I actually make a great wall hanger.
It comes with a thing to mount it on the wall.
I actually, but I'm me, so you can't judge the general market by me because I'm a Nimrod. I mean, I'm a weirdo, and proudly so.
And they traded molds for that.
What do they trade?
I don't even want to know.
Brian Tate says, Kentucky, what?
Yeah.
The big old flintlock, the long Kentucky rifle. That's it. Oh, well. I ain't going to say nothing. I've met Pete, I've met Rick. They're nice guys. I like them. But sometimes I wonder.
Somebody said that somebody paid you to take those pajamas, those pants?
Well, if they had paid me, I'm waiting on the check.
Okay. I still want somebody to do a Florida Man comic book with stories ripped from the headlines.
I killed my first rabbit with a .177 air rifle. Ate him too. We were having to call a neighbor or Mr. Paramore and ask him how to clean one.
I'm sure he knew.
I'm sure there's a pretty broad market for Kentucky long rifle models, Steve.
I have. Steve was there.
Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, the Kentucky long rifle was one of the early American rifled rifles. It's a rifle, not a musket. That's why we gave what for to the Brits at the Battle of 1812. Was a lot of our guys had rifles, not muskets. So they were able to fire at like 300 yards.
So has the knowledge been lost to history as who decided to come up with rifling in the
No, it actually it has not. They know that it was done. I want to say in Germany, as a guy, and I forget who it was. He had not rifled the barrel with spiral grooves, but he put straight grooves in to make it easier to clean and load. And they realized they were far more accurate. And that didn't even put a spin on it, but it kept the round straight as it went out. And then somebody figured out, hey, if we put a spin on it, it'll be even better. And that goes back to the 1700s, I think. And have you ever seen Sharp's Rifles, the series, the British series on television, or it's on YouTube?
No.
No, but I saw. What was that guy's name that went to Australia?
Quigley?
Yeah, Quigley Goes to Australia.
Now, long before that, there was a series made called Sharp's Rifles, which is with the famous British actor Bean.
Which is where the term sharpshooter came from.
Well, Sharp's Rifles is in the Napoleonic Wars, and Sharp is a sergeant in the army in the Rifles, which later became, I think, the Royal Green Jackets. And he gets a field promotion, lieutenant. He winds up becoming, I think, a colonel. But he always tells people what he's doing. His men don't carry muskets; they carry rifles because they're extremely accurate shots. And back in an age of the smoothbore musket, and they have Sharp's Rifles, Sharp's Eagles, and a couple of, because it went on for several seasons, and it's really well made. But go watch a few episodes. It's good. But it deals with him dealing with these unruly guys, or what they call chosen men. They have a white armband that shows they're chosen men, which means they're good enough shots that they're basically an elite unit, even if they're a bunch of malcontents.
I just sent you an email of the box art of the Kentucky Long Rifle. That perhaps
we're waiting for bated breath for that one.
That's a weird thing to all the car molds and stuff they could sell so many more of.
Don't go there.
I don't think I can show that picture on YouTube. The last time we showed a boomstick, he got shut down.
Yeah, but it's not a real boomstick. It's a picture of a box.
And that's a 1-to-1 scale, huh?
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm the kind of guy that would buy one, but I'm me, and I'm not the average
modeler.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Let me put that here. And then let me put
only $40.
I think for the next live stream, we should share some of the latest Mainway toys collection.
By Irwin Mainway.
Ooh, I have an idea. I don't know if that's what you're thinking, but how about models that just didn't make it?
Ooh, that's a thought.
That'd be a whole show. Let me tell you.
They seem like a good idea, but they just went nowhere.
Died on the vine.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no shortage of those. Oh God, man, what was it? Revell did the 1/32 scale X13, and then they did everything, and at the last minute they decided, I'm like, you've already made the mold, just produce the damn thing. But they didn't.
Well, what about all of the electronic models they made?
Like?
They made like a race car, and it came on a base, and you push buttons, and it made noises, and the wheels moved. And they did an ambulance, and they did I think it was a police car or a fire truck. Those certainly did not do well. And then they had the whole line of Dr. Seuss kits.
Oh, that was a total failure from my understanding.
Just a second. Brian Tate just said, huge market in Japan for model rifles. They have racks and racks of gun models for sale in their hobby shop.
That actually is true. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Bruce Lee was the single biggest collector of replica model guns, because private ownership of firearms is verboten in China, and
because you
Japan.
can't have them.
I mean,
So they
they're
get
more
that.
strict than the British. So there are, you know what? But I don't think the boys have a distributor in Japan, do they?
No, because they don't have licenses for a lot of the stuff in Japan.
So, but that would be a great. They would sell a bunch of those things in Japan, probably. I'm sure all the old was it Pyro made all the pistols and stuff.
They have all those molds. They traded for them.
See, I've got that Derringer up there. You were with me, Steve, when the gentleman gave it to
Yeah.
me at Desertland. But I don't want to bring it down and show it because I'm afraid we'll get clipped like we did last time. I don't want to end up back in YouTube jail because YouTube can't tell a real gun from a toy gun.
Or a gravity event.
But right up there, just outside of camera range, just past those rockets, is a Derringer. And it's a plastic kit that opens and works like a real Derringer. You can cock it, and I mean, it's got little fake bullets and everything. It's pretty cool. I guess it's an old
No,
pirate.
Paul. No, Paul. There is no Daniel Boone Coonskip hat supplied with that kit.
That would probably help sell a few. From
I
the
remember
coonskin
back in
cap
the-
on the top of old Dan to the bottom of his rawhide shoes, the fightingest and the man the frontier
All right,
ever
Max,
knew.
please stop. Make it stop. Go. No, thank you. Okay.
Make it stop. Oh, like I haven't heard several women say that.
Okay. Back in the mid '70s, in a hobby shop that I was working in at the time. Hold that thought, Max.
I was just laughing at what I just said.
Hang in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's finally kicking in.
You won't be getting dinner tonight after that comment. You'll be sleeping in this harvest tonight.
For those of you who stayed on this long, now you're getting your reward.
I'll tell my story, and you can just, well, whatever. Okay, so I was working in this hobby shop, and they had metal replica guns. The barrel was filled in.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
other than
replica
that,
models. I've
it
had
was
a bunch of them.
exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They even disassemble like the real. I have had many of them.
I thought that was kind of cool.
They are awesome.
Can you still get them?
Yeah, I think replica models are still in business. Ken, they were based in Alexandria, Virginia. The import thing was in Alexandria.
Oh, okay. Well, this is in Wheaton.
Well, they moved. Okay. What's Wheaton? 30 miles away?
Yeah, not very far from there. Yeah. Huh.
Well,
That
oh
is-
God,
anyway.
I'm going to have to sign a coup de kill. No worries, man. I'm about to sign off myself here.
Yeah, I think we're pushing the envelope.
No, but it's this after party part that's really where we can just talk about anything. That's kind of the mostest funnest.
Well,
Okay.
This started out after the first hour was the after party.
I've done damage to this bottle,
Yeah, you did a good
and
job
I can
on
still
it.
walk. I don't know if that's a testament to me or an anti-testament to the Angel's Envy.
Well, John Jones says, "Keep drinking, Max. This is great."
I'm glad you guys are having fun. Hey, look, you guys can boogie anytime. It's no worries. I'm just rambling at this point, but you know,
We still got 75 people wanting to watch this rant.
God bless them each and every one. You know what? As much as we opine for the old days and gripe about modern times, this is pretty cool. We could not have done this in our youth. I mean, I remember sitting and watching a ham operator have a picture download 1 pixel at a time over the radio. You know, and we thought that was amazing.
KLS&C says, "I think we better end this before Max falls off his chair laughing."
Not, I gotta admit, that last bit was pretty funny.
Nobody will remember what I said. Everybody's going to remember you falling off your chair laughing.
Yeah. But you know, Ken, the hardest I think I've ever laughed in my life, or close to it, definitely a runner-up. I'm in a hotel room, I want to say in Little Rock. And it's me, and it's back when I was the regional airline. So it's me, the first officer, and the male, very gay flight attendant, who was actually a really good egg, but boy, he was just like out there. And we bought a bunch of duty free in Canada. And he was like, okay, guys, we're all going to the captain's room and breaking out the duty free. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell? Why not? And the more we drank, literally in vino veritas, and he just starts giving us more information than we want about his lifestyle. But by God, when you're drunk, it was so funny. And I mean, we were literally coughing and crying, laughing at the stuff he said. And it was both an eye-opening and hilarious event. And I think that's one of those points in your life when you realize people are just people and we're all what we are. And man, just relax and let people live their lives. But, oh my God.
Ken, you think we can get him to put an Airfix quick build kit in front of him right now?
A what?
That would be fun.
An Airfix what?
The crowd says, Ken, the wise sage of Max's madness.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
I never put the words Ken and wise together, but then I never put the words Max and wise together either. So that ain't really saying anything. You notice I'm drinking water now.
Oh, that's why the show's going downhill.
I know to hydrate.
And we're supposed to believe you didn't pour it into there?
It's right here. Hold on. That's the sound of happiness. And the smell of happiness.
Says, I realize that no one is normal.
That's actually a pretty fair statement. If I ever met... Okay, let's think of it this way. If you ever met somebody that was actually completely normal... The fact that they're normal would make them abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
Very philosophical. You've definitely reached your drink limit.
I'm done drinking for the night. And this is where everybody signs off. You go, well, if he's done drinking, we're done watching.
Yeah, some people are saying, hey, give him more, give him more.
What I can't believe is I have had this much, and I'm still coherent, I think, aren't I?
Scale Model Apprentice, yes, let's get him a quick build.
Yeah.
Ah, crap. I got the Panther right over there. Yeah. Nice try, Gavin. You almost had me. There are three things I won't get near right now. A car, an airplane, or an X-Acto knife.
Good choices.
I had to change the blades, and we're talking about the surgical thing with they used in what is it? One of those what is that movie? The ones with the werewolves. What was that? Underworld.
Yeah.
It's a great X-Acto knife. Oh, by the way, I found out why the top wouldn't fit on the Jupiter 2. That part that goes on top of the interior, that circular part there was one piece in there that hadn't seated properly, and it was bulging. So I had to take the whole top off and start etching it out. And the only thing I had here in the office was that Kate Beckinsale slice up the werewolf's X-Acto knife. And I hadn't even started drinking. I was scared to use that thing like that. So I got to take that out and pound the... But you know what I realized with the top on the thing, you can't see it anyway. Just easy to leave it off the whole model. But anyway, now I finally got the top where it'll sit down. But I'm going to have to glue that top piece down. That's why I want to put the batteries externally so I can change them. And if any LEDs or something burn out, screw it.
I know why 73 people are still watching. They're waiting to see what you're going to say next.
I'm always scared using that knife.
It's a great knife, but by God, anything that can remove a human heart, you got to treat with caution.
Yeah.
Max, you've already explained that. Put the plug in the jug.
The jug is plugged. Oop, ow. That was just... It just tapped the handle. It just tapped the handle of my... Sounded worse than it was. Hey, bulging unseated part sounds... Yeah. We've all had that happen when you build a model where you got that one part you don't know that bulges and nothing will fit. And you want it tearing half the model apart. You get down there and grind it back down. Pre-fitting the parts. Cannot be overstated.
Nor can reading the instructions.
Really? You're going to go there, huh?
Yeah.
Trey's model says a bulging, unseated part sound.
That's what I was literally just talking about. Gosh, Ken, even when you make the staff meetings, you're not there.
I do have this ability to fall asleep sitting up, you know.
That is a talent, okay? That's a feature, not a bug. No. It will not have a gravity encounter. That I can assure you. Was lost loopy during a colonoscopy. Well, I'm glad we can make you loopy. Oh, man. We have a good time here. Just a bunch of goobers getting together and, picking on each other and having fun. I double dog dare you to do an Airfix quick build. I don't have one on hand, so I can't do that, but
we'll have to talk to Ian and have him send a few over.
Except for these magnificent collectible, S and pre-S kits, I moved everything out to the Tarbis. And that was, and God, I actually freed up some space. I'm probably going to rearrange this cabinet that's behind. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize I forgot I had the cabinet laid off.
How many unassembled kits do you have now?
About 400. Which, by the way, is not, I learned ain't really that. We got some guys here have 3,000.
Yeah, but still, four. Okay, hang on a sec. Let's do a little math here, okay?
Ken, I failed math.
On the average to make one of these kits and do a decent job.
3 days. That's for a really basic, like the comic kit I'm working on now. I can't believe I'm pouring more of this in. Oh my gosh, something got on my leg. I'm not supposed to splash
while
this
he's
stuff.
Cleaning up and licking his finger.
He looks like Karis in the Mummy movie, sucking up the tonneau fluid that spilled on the floor.
So you got some pretty sophisticated.
I'll take that.
So let's just say 5
a week.
Okay, the CH-54 Tarhi, the Sky Crane that I just announced I'm going to start. That was the ICM kit in 1/35th scale. That will take me at least a month, probably 3 months, because it's going to be a background kit that I work on between other stuff. But some of the kits like the Comet S2F Stoof that I'm working on, you could do that in 3 days. I'm taking a little longer because, like today, I didn't even get out to the shed to speak of. But 3 days for a quick build, 3 months for a long build.
Okay, so let's say you take some time off, birthdays, weddings, whatever. Okay, takes you 5 days on the average to do a kit. With just the kits you got right now, we're talking 8 years.
God, this is why I drink, Ken. Come on, that was good. That was good.
That was good.
Max's liquid stash is going down.
I can't believe I actually poured myself another one.
Max is going to need to make it to 105 years old to finish building his stash.
I, for one, support that idea. There are only 2 things that really, really, really scare me. One, pissing off my wife. 2, dementia. Anything else I can deal with. Okay, 3, quadriparalysis. Quadriparalysis.
You don't have to deal with it.
What?
Dementia, you don't know you have to deal with it.
No, but I don't want to do that to anybody. Dude, I am telling all of you, and this is going out in the interweb for anybody who cares. If I actually get that bad, for God's sake, somebody put a pillow over my face.
Yeah, we'll just get a backpack loaded with snacks and adult beverages and set you loose someplace.
I can do that. Hell, I can do that tonight. What kind of snacks?
It says, given my build rate, it would be more like 80 years. I am really slow.
Now, wait a minute. Steve,
yes.
What kind of snacks? This is very important. What kind of snacks?
Whatever you'd like.
I like
and pizzas?
everything, but Snickers bars would be on the top of the list.
Snickers bars.
Just saying, if you're going to bait the trap.
I got Snickers bars left over from Halloween candy.
You couldn't take.
I know, I had
Thanks,
one.
you guys, you're killing me. Thanks.
I had one. The whole time I was at your house, I ate one of those little tiny square single bite Snickers. That was it. I'm actually kind of proud of myself.
You did well, actually, while you were here. Yeah, you did well.
Good. I work for Hershey's. You're talking about Snickers bars. Thanks.
I mean, Hershey's okay, but, you know, Snickers is Snickers, man.
Super PZL says, for every kit Max builds, he buys two.
Or four.
Or gets donated several kits. You know what? At the rate you get donated kits, you may never finish them.
Well, look at it this way. He's got 400 kits, and he's only paid for like 4.
Yeah, that's true. So, Steve,
Yay!
how many
8.
kits do you have?
North of probably 300.
Okay, so you're not as bad as Max. I thought you'd have.
You've seen them.
Ken, the problem is, should I check out before they're done, and I probably will.
We'll be down.
You guys help Monica sell them off, but what worries me is that as time goes by, the value of these things is starting to diminish because you have less and less kit model builders. That's, I mean, I could send a bunch of them to people like Gavin and, who are young and could make a use of them, but ultimately the idea is try to, well, first off, virtually all of these are gifts, and I really feel I would never sell, I will not sell any of these because they were gifts. I will gift them to people. I've gifted some of the Van Osh collection I've already gifted to other people who are kit model collector. I gave some to Mike and Bruce and a couple others, Gavin. But because I know they appreciate them and they were gifts to me, I'm more than happy to spread the wealth. But I would never sell them. But if I check out, I fully expect my wife to try and sell them because she's got to live, keep going. That's and anybody that would buy them would be someone who would probably appreciate them.
And she needs room for the dolls.
Yeah, there's that.
Oh, well,
But
Audie Watkins says, well, he says, if you have Alzheimer's, you could build the same kit over and over again.
the way I keep tearing them down and rebuilding them, I'm kind of already doing that with a few of them. But oh, by the way, I didn't mention this during the live stream. Well, the official live stream. But we went to Hobby Lobby today, and I found a perfect size bucket and a couple of bench seats for the stagecoach. And I already went out and checked, and they look great. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna put the 2 cowboys that are supposed to drive them sitting on the benches with the bucket between them, with all the arrows sticking out of the stagecoach, and just gonna leave it any other Tuesday. They didn't call it the Wild West for nothing.
Well, we know who the hardcore people are. They're still here listening.
God bless them.
There's 73
of them. Yeah.
And one of them's got his wife giving him dirty looks.
You might want to go ahead and sign off there, brother. There's no shame. You have done your due diligence and then some. Speaking of which, I guess one reason I'm not in a rush is because I'm on the Zetbound, which curbs your appetite, and I know all I have coming to me tonight is a salad, so nothing to get too excited about. Plus, I'm having a good time. Christ, what I can't believe is I'm this much, and I'm not even hammered. That's either really worrying or really wonderful. I'm not sure which.
I'm going to chug the rest of it and see what happens.
Yeah, I did that once. It was not a happy ending. I got tanked a couple of years ago on a live stream, and
I remember that.
Yeah, oh, okay, then you know what I'm talking about. And when it was all over and said and done, everything hit me even harder after it was all over. I remember sitting out there in my chair going, I promised myself I'd never do this again. So I'm not doing that again. I spent about 4 hours sitting in a chair out there waiting for everything to sort of make sure everything processed without any issues, and it did. But I was like, no, got to know your limits. And you know, it's really kind of a bummer. It's good. It depends on how you look at it. This whole evening, I've been sipping on this stuff, and I love Angels with Envy because you don't get a hangover. But all I've had this whole time, I mean, I haven't become incoherent or anything. This whole evening, all I've had is a very light buzz. But that's kind of a happy place to be. You know, not. You don't want to get stupid, commode hugging drunk or anything. You want to just kind of. Right now, I have no problems. I have no worries. I'm in my happy place. But not.
Says, Max, did you see my comment about putting a few bullet holes in the stagecoach?
Already done. So let me see if I got a picture to show you. That is done and done. I have put bullet holes, and I'm in the process of putting the arrows in it. Let me see.
Arrows too?
Oh yeah, yeah. We want this to.
Arrows.
We want this to have the effect, man. The effect. Let me see. 2025.
Bill Campbell says, Max, you're not hammered. You must have a different level than I'm seeing.
I'm not hammered. I'm in a happy place where good things happen. Okay, let's see.
Hammered is passing out.
I'm looking for the
waking up.
That's odd.
I'm glad I never got to experience that.
I don't. Apparently, I did not
one time I got so
download it.
drunk I gave my car away.
I have never been that far gone. You know what it is? I haven't downloaded the new pictures, but I have bullet holes in the stage, and I'm in the process of making arrows because I looked online. They don't have. You know what? Heck, let me see. Gallery, camera. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but this is kind of where we're at right now with the two guys doing the work on it. And it's got all kinds of... It's got a burn mark from a flaming arrow, and the back has all kinds of bullet holes in it. And what I did was the bullet holes, I made it a point that if I put like a grazing bullet that chips some wood off, it follows through, the other pieces of the stagecoach where it shows where it has skittered down the side or something. And so it's going to have bullet holes and arrows in it. And the two guys, sitting there cleaning it up afterwards and saying something like, that was a busy Tuesday, or, something kind of lighthearted to show how tough the Old West was. They didn't call it the Wild West for nothing. But I still got a lot of work to do. I got to paint those two characters. I have to make the arrows. The stagecoach itself is done. And I got to give Marks credit. They really did an impressive job. If you put the first one I built for Donovan has all the horses and everything, and they have where all the reins go and everything, and you appreciate how complex these things were. These were not simple systems. Let me see if I have.
Okay, we got a few interesting comments I think Steve would like. He's probably read them already.
Go
My
ahead.
buddy drunk bought a car on eBay and his wife was pissed. Audie says, once bought a 66 Plymouth station wagon when I was drunk.
Good
man.
man.
For a while.
Hey, you know what I'm taking from that? He bought a classic car. He bought a 66 Plymouth.
The best is the crowd. I got so plastered once I re-enlisted.
Okay, now that is worrisome. Here is the stagecoach I built for my buddy Donovan. This is the actual diorama with some flourishes from, trick photography, so to speak. But
Monica is reaching out to you.
uh-oh. Yeah, she's probably going, why are you still online?
Probably.
Yes, well, I think we are going to be wrapping up here.
We are done.
Okay, guys.
Well, everybody, I want to thank you for coming out and spending this excessive amount of time with us. I've had a blast. And a few blasts while having a blast. What is it? What is that Jose Jimenez said? I was having a blast before I go, Anyway.
You're going to put bullet holes in the horses?
I'm not using the horses. I'm just using the coach like it's down for maintenance.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Well, that's it for the night. It's time for me to get my salad and go to bed. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Guys, you want to say your adioses?
Go, Ken.
Oh, okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all coming out. You are definitely the core of this group. If you are still here, all 72 of you, 73, whatever, thank you for staying with us. Yes, Max is very entertaining when he's drunk. Unfortunately, we can't have that every weekend. Anyway.
Yeah, we can.
Well, troopers, you obviously are very loyal to the channel for being in here this long, but thank you for coming on and helping us get through another group of important subjects we needed answers to. And we'll see you next week.
Guys, I want to thank everybody. This is a whole bunch of fun. It's great for a bunch of like-minded people to get together. I want to thank Steve and Ken, Trey, Eric, Gavin, and just everybody. And guys, this has been a whole lot of fun. And take care of yourselves. I will not be running an outro. I'm just going to end the live stream here because I have a feeling I might be in trouble. Anyway, take care of yourselves.
Just be.
Take care of yourselves, and as always,